to me, Kinotrope deciding to pick border. This is a map that Dplus loved in the regular stage. They beat both Trippy and Scars, notably Scars.
Yep.
It was a close game, but Dplus did win it. On the Kinotrope side, we actually haven't seen them play border all stage long, which tells me that they've been saving it for a moment like this.
Yeah, I kind of look at this map Vito as a win for Kinotrope. You look at their pick on border. They've only played it once, but they did beat Scars on it. 2-4 record for Dplus, not ideal. And then Bank as well. Dplus haven't won it this year.
Yeah.
They've got a 0-2 record. Lost to CAG, lost to G2. And actually in both those, 1-7, 2-7. Whereas Kinotrope have actually found some success on that particular map of Bank, despite it being the pick of Dplus. Clubhouse as the decider. If we get there, James, that's the big thing. I would back Dplus there. So Dplus need to find one on border or Bank, and I think they win this 2-1.
One of my biggest concerns in any matchup like this is a team like Kinotrope and the chaos they can cause. You've gone to a map like Border, which is a chaotic map. It is a map that leans heavily into Kinotrope's playstyle, and if people are not careful, I'm telling you right now, Kinotrope may well be pushing this into a grand final. It's going to be spicy, mate. But I tell you what, we don't have to wait any longer. It is time for Pengu and Guz? What? Hang on.
Where's Guz? What?
That doesn't look like Guz.
No, Guz is unfortunately unwell today, so I'm going to be doing double shifting. Well, hello, Nick. How are we?
Hello there, Jakey boy.
We got
Doing pretty good.
We got
you know?
one last moment of being friends before our 2v2 later this evening.
Oh, I forgot about that for a short second. You're right. Okay. Well, I'm not going to break down any strategies in this game. I don't want to give any advice to you then for our match later on.
That's okay. We're playing
We'll
on
keep it,
Oregon's
little
been
bit
out of the
service
pool long
level.
enough. Excited for this though, Nick. Obviously, Kinotrope Dplus, as we were speaking about on the desk. We all know we've prefaced this enough, and those who have been following APAC North, 2-1 into 2-1 into 2-1 ad nauseum. I think we expect it again today, but like I said, I don't. From a Matt Vito standpoint, there's not a lot here that suggests one or either of the two teams are very dominant on border or Bank. So this is going to be quite fascinating.
I think Rob had a good point though about the chaos in the server. I do think when you have Kinotrope, much lesser experience as a roster against, you know, the Dplus Kia boys, you probably do want to play into the chaos, into the unorthodox styles of Rainbow Six Siege. If it's going to be a cookie cutter default round, I do favor Dplus in it. But I mean, off the rip, right? Akayo and the Maestro, where it's talking about things being out of the norm. We got Kao on the Capcan. This is not the usual strats that Dplus uses seeing, especially on a map like Border.
Obviously, it goes without saying it is a case of must win for either of these two in the lower bracket final, the grand final, the only way in which you can get to the Esports World Cup from APAC North. Must win it. They will have to win 2 best of 3s, one of these two, if they are to get to Paris. Start on defense, and it's Ayakata towards break that will make first contact. Falls taken low very early on in the piece. Kinotrope have had a very impressive stage thus far. Been happy with their work. Oh, a lovely shot. Ayakata, I thought he was dead to rights as Nier slipped in. He had a really good read and a really good angle, but the shooting from Kinotrope just even better. As Akayu also deals with that low health falls. It's a 2-player advantage for the defense.
Gotta see that discipline now from Kinotrope. Not give those 1v1s any longer. Play around the crossfires information game because Dplus, they know this too. They have to go for broke. They have to force a couple of gunfights. Most notably probably here in office from the triple wall from the window. We actually use the Selma charge on the single archives wall as well to get a long line of sight in towards the bomb site itself. That could find them a pick relatively easily if Kinotrope are not careful.
Heading into the final minute of this opening round. So far, so good for Kinotrope, but this is probably the one site that they really should be winning comfortably. Ayagata Kawao still quite low. It does offer some kind of respite for Dplus. Drone through, they'll get the fountain information onto Eclair. So the one and only Nitrocell available as the Jugger payload will go onto Ayagata. He'll need to answer that or he will be dead.
Ooh.
Does answer it immediately.
Okay, good.
A late rotate here from Midi as Levy is just watching, but to be fair, that's a lot of utility they still need to get through. You got the Maestro cam too.
This could be the kill. All into the sap, it falls him away, got the Baba, so he swings out, does a bit of damage. I think worth there for Cabo, who's stuck in the corner, but it does open things up a little bit here for Dplus, right? Garawada, Aegita, both very low on health. It's still winnable for Dplus.
Yeah, they know, though, they probably can't push into Archives now, and there's only 15 seconds left, so down the hallway, another Sawyer Gate. The Aruni's been quite impactful in this round. SMG from that distance, difficult to control, but Musi did it. 3v2, time is the biggest concern. Love this position for Akayu and Archives, and the LMG just goes nuts. Midi fell as well, and it's all three dead in the last second. Kinotrope will hold on defensively. In the end, Nick, it was the utility that probably won them the round.
Yeah, I mean, again, I love Kinotrope for the single fact that they play a ton of Maestro, the highest pick rate on this operator in the entire world of Rainbow Six Siege in the Tier 1 level of competition. And it has not been target banned away at any point. And we saw an interview with Alchemist when they, won their previous game to get here. He said, hey, you gotta ban the Maestro, guys. It's gonna be a problem. Trying and forcing that kind of different approach to things. They also play operators like your Mai or the Jaeger to protect those Maestro Evil Eyes, to stop going down on that operator. And that's the thing. If you ban the Maestro, you leave something else open that's quite strong. And if you don't ban the Maestro, well, then they're going to play it against you. So it does feel like a lose-lose, and not many teams these days have that sort of flexibility and uniqueness that they can do these kind of sort of things. But Kinotrope, they are one of those teams. They will pick it again. Once more from Akaya here, and Atelos and Bathroom Bomb side. They get a couple of traps for knowledge, information here with Dplus, shut down those injured players. And I guess the question mark is Dplus going to play for the killing? Are they going to play operators like you see here, the Blackbeard, the Dokkaebi, the Deimos, take some map control, hunt down the roamers? Or do they got to start worrying about going for executes? Because look at that, last second, Glass, Capitao, and the Thatcher. This could very well be one of those direct plans, limited attacks to not deal with the roam.
Yeah, but Bathroom Tellers, you're going to have to clear above if you're D+ key. It's very difficult to go
Hey, there's
direct.
a window. They go straight in.
There is a window, but it should be well protected with the amount of trap utility that's being brought from Kinotrope. And that's the beauty with this lineup, is not only can they bring the trap utility for the site, but they can also bring it for top floor. They're also going to have bodies on this first floor too. And McWow actually is probably one of the best operators for this, is the smoke can very much dissuade the idea of going for that fast rush in through the window with those gas babes. Interestingly, he does still have a deployable shield that he hasn't used yet either. And again, the Maestro play from Caillou, with those cameras, he can get a lot of information. When you're playing vertical as well, second floor, first floor, having access to those Evil Eyes is going to be very important for Kinotrope.
It's a bit awkward these days with the deployable shield. There was a time where you always had it on the smoke and the ward and etc. and you knew exactly where to put them down. And now it's like, what do we do with the shield? Normally we don't need to have any on the board. Maybe Kawa having a bit of that right now, or waiting for the mid-round moment to put in the perfect spot. We'll see. Toxic goes out to kind of counter any sort of push here with the Lion Scan, but there's none coming. We know that. Still waiting for the first bit of battle, and there it is. Moves and the Thatcher finds a clear on level Mai. So it's going to be like a full clear here for Dplus despite the operator lineup. But when they get to that bomb site, that's when they're going to be the strongest to enable the Capitao in the glass.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Eclair. He just got caught in the hallway on the top floor. He goes down without really being able to fire back. They lose that Nitrocell as well. It was the only one they had available, and 2 gas babes have already been expended by Kawau. But so far so good for Dplus, just eating through some of this utility, got that opening kill, putting pressure both top floor and first floor, especially with Midi now playing main lobby, falls as well towards waiting. If they want, they can actually go for a site execute, even though there's still a minute on the clock, because they've actually drawn enough attention away from Kinotrope, both above and below. You can slip in, go for this plant. Midi finds the kill onto Kawau, so that also deals with the one and only defender on the first floor. Site is very vulnerable now for Kinotrope.
Countdown on!
Yeah, no real-time denial. Yes, they're Evil Eyes, but they can both be EMP'd, and it can be called at the right moment to deny it entirely. So Kinotrope fighting in the dark right now, and it's going to get worse for them. A good trade there on top floor, still favoring Dplus. But back to even numbers. Garada huge play on East Stairs. 2v2.
Yeah, huge from Gatarada and Akayu to win their respective fights. As you said, 2v2 now heading into the last 30 seconds. And Akayu through the hatch catches out Midi. He wasn't prepared for the angle.
Okay.
And Levy's still outside of the balcony, creates the 1v1. Now, he doesn't have the diffuser up against the Maestro, and Akayu elects not to drop because the bullet hose is that strong up close. It's the Maestro again, 2 rounds to begin, and the Maestro's been the difference.
Oh, it's ridiculous. He sticks around an office, talks by the window, and then white swings at the perfect moment because we saw Levy was kind of sweeping the room from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And as he goes all the way right to clear the final corner, he gets completely swung from the opposite angle. That's going to give you a bit of confidence here if you're Kinotrope. All the plays are working out, and this round in particular, you're playing with a 2-man deficit and still somehow coming out on top, finding a couple of good moments there. Garawada most notably finding 2 kills on E stairs. And that Maestro LMG, do not underestimate it. No need to reload. And I mean, what a shame. Akayu goes from Maestro clutching 2 rounds in a row to now playing Mossy. That is a huge switch up. But I guess you gotta have different ways of winning a round. Also, hold the phone. Is this the first Thunderbird we've seen in like forever? We're playing Thunderbird on ventilation bumps at a border.
Thunderbird is usually played by Chef Jeff in OS, but outside of that, I think Wizard plays it in SAL.
Has he played at this stage though?
He has. Yes, he has, Nick.
For Chef Jeff?
Yes,
he
we have
has.
seen the yeah, he played it on, I want to say Consulate. But regardless of the map, he does play it.
I think you're right actually.
And so for the Thunderbird, the fun part is, whenever I do see it, typically by Chef Jeff, I always try to keep an eye on whether or not the Kona stations actually make a difference, and I still don't think I've ever seen them make a difference. They've basically never done anything. They're so bad. They're still so bad. And even if someone gets taken low and they go for the heal, it just takes so long that it's just irrelevant. Oh, this is interesting. Niers on the bug went very, very quick and gets caught by the Thunderbird.
Hold up. Hold up. I didn't just shoot the alive body of the bug, but also the dead version of it.
Okay, well, can go heal.
Mag there.
Nick, he can go heal. The smoke can go back to full health.
Oh my god, he can do the thing, And they buffed the Thunderbird, but not too long ago. They increased the healing speed by 50%.
And it's still crap.
So it is faster now. And it's still crap apparently. Okay, I still think there's a world where you start playing Rook and you play Thunderbird. Now you get 150 health on most defenders, and you can just heal forever. Come on now.
And where's your utility?
Oh, you tank the Dokkaebi call and you take the Thunderbird instantly. Look, he completely countered the Dokkaebi damage. Akayu's full on health already. Boom.
Eclair's going to do it as well. That's a counter pick. Yeah. Thunderbird's going to be better.
Explosion.
Bang.
Boom.
Heal.
Into the Thunderbird.
No, dead.
Yep. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's useless. Okay.
Kona Station's not healing that one. Midi gets the kill onto Eclair. Now, here we go. Gator, he'll eat the call. He should then heal up. Well, he actually will just answer the call. That defeats the purpose unless he feels the pressure from the Solid Snake. And that's going to be a 1-2 split now for the defense of Kinotrope.
It's going to be hard to hold this one. Because if you drop down, you surrender the Vert, but you did kill the Buck, I suppose. So they're going to leave one player above a Gator now falling back at the 1-minute mark. So surrendering full top floor control. But Dplus don't know that they fell back just yet. Going to tank the call. Wait for the recharge here of the Kona station. Boom, back to full HP in no time. Good value. Kawa, Akayu, and Gator. That is 3 separate people being healed now by a single operator, but it doesn't matter because they get headshot right after. Akayu now in the grading a 2v4 now for Gator and Kawa.
And that's also the other thing with the Kona stations. I mean, Dplus are going to win this, but you have to be very careful with the positioning because see how they're crouched under the hatch? It's like a double stack under the hatch there when you've given up top floor control is not a good position to be in.
Yikes. Not at all. And with that, the run is far too easy for Dplus to find all the kills. And it's the same argument you make for Doc, right? Like, Doc is a great operator if you have an injured player that you cannot go and revive them. But with that being said, you're not supposed to be in an injured position in the first place. So you need to become into a bad position to enable these kind of healing operators and bring it back to even grounds. It does feel a bit wishy-washy. But I love when a good plan comes together. Not to be in that one. Maestro target banned immediately there from Dplus. We're finally seeing it.
That's a respect ban, though. I feel like surely as a pro player, Nick, that's going to be the ultimate respect when you clearly know that ban is specifically just for you.
Yeah, that is exactly right. It's something that you take a lot of pride in as a flex player, right? If you can be so successful on one particular op that every team starts banning it. Because if I'm any other team to Impact North, if I go into Stage 2 or when I go into Stage 2, I'm looking at banning Maestro against Kinotrope in the majority of the games in group stage. There's no reason not to. It's gonna be like their flair of how they play the game differently. And unless you're really good against a specific playstyle, which, let's be honest, probably nobody is because it's so uncommon to see the Maestro in the first place, ban it. Go back to even grounds. Kinotrope have banned what double shield and Dokkaebi. That's like super common territory for Dplus. They're not gonna struggle about, oh my god, what are we gonna do now? How do we get the intel game, etc. Kinotrope and Akayo, they have doubled down on the intel game mode from Maestro to the Echo, so they do still have the information portion of the game. They just don't have the ability to damage and deny the drones and be a threat in the server the same way. And worse guns.
If you can hear me. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
boy?
I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Have sat on the court. Oh, okay. I'm going to need a...
Is that?
I see what's happened here. I'm going to, at some point, need to change headset. It reminds me a little bit of Anaton back in the day, Nick, when shield play was not as prevalent. Like, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years ago, where it was more niche, right? So if you were really good on shields, you could obviously make a difference. Anaton was someone in the APAC region that did that, and he
100%.
got that banned away, whereas obviously nowadays, everyone just bans away the Monty and the Blitz. Oh, they get a caught top waiting by Nears. 5 versus 4. Again, another opening kill for Dplus. That'll be split at 2 apiece now in the first 4 rounds.
Bit of a tough spot again here on border, right? You're up against the ACOG DMRs with like, I don't know, SMGs, holoscopes, etc. It doesn't feel entirely fair. Even Echo doesn't have an ACOG any longer. They're gonna be stuck in these corners, stuck by the half walls, trying to take a half-decent fight. But as we see, the longer time goes on for, the worse it gets. Kinotrope forced to fall on back. Try and play much closer to the bomb site itself. Reinforce the wall in the middle of the round. It's good at peeling back the layers here from Kinotrope, but the issue is they've lost the guy early. There's still half the round to play, and there are gonna be some strong operators here, like the Demos and Mitzi, to get that information, utilize the grenades, and go for another free pick later on. Kaio. Can he be the hero once again? Again, very different weapon, very different kind of operators. As you get a lot more active in the server now, seeking out those fights. And Eclair's already taking a lot of damage as well. Garada goes down. Feels like Dplus are everywhere. Mitzi, sense of the building, locking things down, tracking different defenders, saying, hey, this is clear, this isn't. Move forward. Kaio, here he comes with the swing, gets the injure and the confirmation. That's Demos, as I just said, off the board. But it still leaves 4 other attackers, looking still towards that top portion. Archives and Armory. Another good shot from Eclair. Changes things. Traded right back, but it makes it winnable. Still 2v3.
Yeah, 2v3. That's not a lot of time remaining in the round. And a big bomb site that you want to win on defense here for Kinotrope. Akayu will have to stay gun up. Can't probably rely on those yokais even if they are available. Pushing up main stairs now. Muzi's a little late because Kwao goes for a big swing. He does get there eventually and then turns around. Bot main gets the second. Wonderful double from Muzi. Huge round win for Dplus Kia on Armory and Archives. That could go a long way in this map.
Yeah. They needed that. I think Nears in particular feeling a bit tense there in the server, not finding as much success as early on as he would like to. It does feel like when you look at Dplus, if Nears is having a great game, they're going to run away with it and steal the show. Whenever he's struggling, he often dies first early, or they don't get to utilize certain operators like your Clash, your Shield, or even a block in some instances. And he's sitting on 2 and 3 going into that round. Not being heated up in the in-game chat either. Nears does play his best, and he is also smack talking at the same time.
So 2 more rounds to go in the half. And Muzi's 7 kills has been the standout, as Kinotrope have given up 2 rounds in a row. It started off, well, sublime for them to go 2-0 up. Dplus now fight back, and this just continues to go with the direction of this region that we've seen basically since the start of finals, if not even really all the way through group stage. It's just so difficult to gain separation just when you think one team is looking maybe like they're going to be on their A game. We were talking on the desk before about the consistency issues of Dplus here. Maybe we don't always get to see the best of them. But when they do lock in, I think their best is maybe the best. It's just a matter of how often we get to see it. 2 rounds straight. Now we go bathroom tellers for the second time in this half. Defended last time by Kinotrope successfully in the second round, but that came down to a 1v1 with Akayu. And so far you look at the rounds played, Nick, 2 alive, 1 alive, 4, sure, but then 1 alive and another clutch. It's been a really close border.
I mean, to be fair, if your Kinotrope close is great, it beats getting destroyed, so they're holding on for now. But it does feel like they need to depend a little bit on some of those like more niche operators, like I said. Maestro being bent away, now it's meant to Capcan, the Kai trying to make it problem solving here for Dplus. But they got Brava, right? They have EMPs and Capital. They lose Nears early again. This time on the Sophia. Again, another Vert operator. Can bring hard destruction. In fact, he brings the only hard destruction because Force and Capital is playing secondary EMPs. So the Kite's not going to be a problem at all any longer. They can't breach anything. So it's very much going to be a matter of plan B, which is going to be a classic border style. Go for kills. Midi does exactly that. Finds a Claire. Have to keep this up. Since they cannot breach the walls or the hatches, they have no other choice but to simply play for as much map control they can and just walk down the staircase and force the fights.
Repulsion device.
Final edge jab placed by Musi. Hoping someone will walk into his line of sight, but it hasn't quite been that sort of game. Clearly what we've seen on border. Got to go searching. You got to go and force these fights. Dplus at the moment are more than happy to go pretty horizontal. The pressure that they're applying again. We saw this back in the second round, where they kind of went for this split between the top floor and the first floor. Straight into Dplus. Ball's going to go for the plant. And I just saw him from bathroom. Wow. Holds it, throws it, and doesn't hit. That's going to be a successful plant, and they catch him through the window. That is a huge moment for Dplus Kia.
That should just be the round. I mean, the poster is so strong right outside the building. They're going to hold things down. Mid-team Blue finds another one to Gatorada as well. And Kinotrope, they're standing still,
They're still top floor.
They're not even going for the push.
They're still
you
top
gotta
floor.
start moving, boys.
They're not even in the right side.
Come on now.
Guys, it's not
Gotta
like
shoot
you
the
can
defenders.
save. This is so strange to see. There's just a lack of urgency. There's a lack of urgency from Kinotrope. It's like they realize they can't win this round. Maybe expecting, of course, some kind of a retake towards that hatch, and maybe hoping that Dplus would throw bodies there. Ayagator started Fountain. He will sit Fountain, and the round will go the way of Dplus Kia. They didn't even try. They gave that up. As soon as the plant was successful, Nick, clearly Kinotrope knew that they were not winning this round.
So this is not the first time that we've seen this. When I first watched Kinotrope, I think they were playing Chalet. A very similar thing happened where if they were in a 1v2 or like a 2v4, something that's winnable but very difficult, they will kind of just sit outside the building if they're attacking and just like communicate, I guess, talk about the things that went wrong instead of trying to salvage the current round in front of them. And we had a moment where I think Kawa was 7-1. I think that was on layer, but it was 7-1, and they had lost like every round because they were just like getting their couple of kills and just AFKing, and they keep getting exit frags essentially. Kinotrope were like, no, we lost this one, guys. They planted. That's C4 missed. Not good enough. Go again. And they will have one more shot here on the half to even it up 3-3. Which, to be honest, if you get 3 rounds on border defense, generally speaking, that's pretty damn good. But with how APL is so different from the norm and whatnot, and how Kinotrope is still a very new team with this iteration of the roster, I have no idea if I should expect them to do better on the attack or the defense.
Well, it's a small sample size. Border hasn't really been played much at this stage in APAC North, Nick, twice, but it does sit at a 68% attacker win rate, largely, though.
Okay.
I just never really paid too much mind, though, when it's such a small sample size. Like 9 rounds played of Armory and Archives for an whopping 90% attacker win rate. Like, we know that's a bit extreme. That's a little bit, okay, that doesn't seem right. 60% for Vent Workshop, and then 60% defensive win rate by from Tellers. So that's the only data that we have for this stage. But I would agree with you in large that if Kinotrope can get a 3rd defensive round on border, that usually does bode quite well. Caillou, well, aggression here from Dplus sees Nears make a bit of contact with the Yala. He's fortunate to still be alive because of that shield, and Caillou is fortunate that he probably had a shield up rather than a gun. Otherwise, Caillou may have copped a bullet to the head. Final round of this half. Dplus have the chance to go 4 rounds up.
Gotta see Nears get in the action though. I like the fact that he's droning from spawn for such a long time, over a full minute here on border, just ensuring that he's not gonna get spawn beat, not gonna die early this time because he's instrumental in that Blackbeard pushing operator. Straight into armor, by the way, they're just keeping security.
That's the glass down, though.
Could just be a plant, maybe?
And now the Blackbeard.
Oh, no. What?
This is great for Kinotrope. You've dealt with two very oppressive operators in the Glaz and the Blackbeard. They do lose a Kayu on the Ella to Musi. Does give a hope now for Dplus still in this final round, and Midi to get rid of Kowal. The Fenrir falls. We're tied again. Falls, and Eclair taking a big battle. Eclair wins it just though. Barely stays alive inside a Fountain. Now losing a Yagata. The pace in this 6th round, Nick, has ramped up massively.
What's he for? Oh, it has. Plant now being attempted. You see how Midi's playing on the outside wall here in Amber for the post plant. Moose gonna be stuck in the deep corner, with Midi being the one to clutch.
Looking for potential run outside. Midi can just hold over towards the balcony. Does want to deal with the BPC. Cam goes down, and Gadarada, though, captures him then from CCTV. 30 seconds now for Musi to just hold on and try and ward off both Gadarada and Declare. He can get pinched. Had the reinforced wall, but goes for the right side swing. Loses it to the DMR of the Aruni. Kinotrope will barely hold on, but hold on they will. And no surprise, in this region that's been so close for so long, basically since the beginning, in this lower final first half, we're all tied.
Tied we are, my friend. And despite Dplus's best efforts there, they can't get that final round. That would have been a massive attacking half for them and would have set them up very nicely.
It was still pretty good. 3 in a row is nothing to scoff at. I want to give Kino a lot of credit, man. They started so strong in classic Kinotrope fashion as well, man. There's nothing better than seeing a Kayu run that Maestro. He's like
scary.
One of the only players in 2026 at a professional level that is still playing Maestro. He does it back-to-back rounds. It's a 3K. By the way, at the end, which was just him hosing down the final players, trying to enter the side at 0 seconds. And then it was a 1v1 clutch, which a little bit too close for comfort. But the fact that he can even win some gunfights when he's playing such a util-heavy operator and where he's a backline player and doesn't usually get a lot of the frags, top fragging for his team, by the way.
Crazy.
Speaks volumes. You can see why Dplus banned it, and then 3 rounds in a row. Yeah, that's when I got a little bit worried. It's why I felt like we have a lot of 2-3 6th round score lines. And that 6th round becomes so important when you're at that 2-3 score line, because either you even it up, and now Kino going into their attack half, which should be favored from an even playing field, or they go down 4-2. That would have been very scary.
You know, one stat I'd actually like to look into in the future, I don't have it, so it's pretty much useless.
You hyped me up.
I know.
I jumped for a
that
second.
final round, because so many times we see such strong early games from teams, and then it flips in the middle of that half. But so often I feel like that final round of the half is just so crucial. And as you said, it comes down to I think it was a 3 versus 5 in the end by Dplus, and then converts to a 2v2. For me, Kinotrope are that team that continue to surprise better teams than them on paper, because there's no doubt about it. Kinotrope, yes, they have some unbelievable players. Don't get that twisted by any means. But when you look at the likes of the CAGs, when you look at the likes of the Dplus, it's not alike. You can't go one for one with
very
that.
different teams. Like
Completely
very different ways of playing the game, which is so cool. It's why I particularly love Kinotrope. They have quite a different interpretation of the game a lot of the time compared to a lot of other teams. But we can say the same for Dplus. Obviously, being Brazilian players with a Brazilian coach, of course, they're going to be a little bit different. Border, though, a lot of it comes down to who can frag out. Even if you're in a 3v5, often rounds are going to end up in those 2v2s, those sticky situations. And usually I would favor Dplus to play that way. But Kinotrope, this new look with Ayagata Gadarada, man, you saw it in that 2v2. Gadarada on the Aruni, cool and collected in that retake. No stress whatsoever. That gives Kino the 3 rounds of defense they need to be favored. I'll be honest, my interpretation, this is favored for Kinotrope from here on out now that they're on the attacking side.
Well, that was going to be the question that I was going to pose to you, is about the attacking side. Do you think it's still favored in this meta?
I think so. And look, I'm seeing... Well, yeah, I think so. It depends on the maps. It depends on the teams. It depends on the matchup. I think we're at the pointy end of the stage finals right now, which means every team is really good at attacking. I think at the lower end, teams less confident on the attack. Defense tends to be more favored. Both these teams confident on the attack. And looking at the operators on the attacking side, Dplus went to ban. Grim and Ying, both really powerful, but Kino are so deadly on so many different cheese ops.
They are.
They're really good on all the shields. Notably, they're really good on Glaz. They have been for a very long time, and I won't be surprised if we see that come through. I'm quite hopeful that we will. But no, the crazy bit of cheese that we're seeing to start is the... Oh, never mind. I was going to say the Osa gets picked off of. But Kinotrope, I'm sure, will be able to flex around all the other power meta ops that are available.
The way that I would put it is Kinotrope are what CAG were 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I think Kinotrope are that team, and especially in the APAC North region, they are so deadly. They are so good domestically. You can never count them out. And right now, I would agree with you. I think they're favored going into the second half. That final round for me, that's a linchpin for them to win this map. And well, if you're a Kinotrope fan, you're hoping that that comes true. Back to the boys.
And if you're a Kinotrope fan, you're probably not happy with the fact that Rob thinks you're going to do well in the second half, because you know what that means. It's Dplus Kia, baby, on defense border. We'll see what they can do, though. Armory Archives, Dplus bringing out the Tachanka smoke, a lot of denial and late game denial. The ploy. Uzi's had a very good half. 9 kills, now playing Diala over towards security. Interestingly, Nia's down below inside a workshop. Of course, does have a Nitrocell. Kinotrope, though, I do agree. I mean, I think that they're the kind of team that can very much do some good things on their own attack now here on border. It's a difficult one to kind of assume where we're at here, Nick. Will this be attacker-sided? Will Dplus do just as well on defense? I feel as if we're in the unknown here. Akayu, though, some very early pressure.
Yeah, bit of a smoke in there as well, maybe trying to bait a plant attempt, force out some of those fires, a play rotation from Dplus to give up some of that map control for free. They did hover the Oza earlier, which James kind of mentioned briefly, and that would have signified like an Archives direct attack most likely, but not to be. So they're playing gap finding, new era of Rainbow Six Siege, poke everywhere, see where they can find a kill, but instead they go down. Aegir on the IQ, taken off the board by Midi. Whenever you lose a player with this gap finding strategy, makes the rest of the round so much more challenging, because now you have less pressure points, but they're gonna start planting. It wasn't a fake.
There's no
They
denial.
can stick it. It's gonna go down.
Yeah, the Tachanka Shamika launcher was a little bit too late, and the Nitrocell as well from Nias was also late in terms of getting the kill before the plant. He did actually get the kill with the Nitrocell, but it was after the fact. Now 3v3 post-plant, and this is quite difficult actually to retake. Holding outside is usually quite comfortable for the attacking team and very tricky for the defense to make their way over. On top of the kit, Levy will stand and hopefully draw them out for Falls to then get the kills. He gets one. He's probably going to need another one. Where is everyone?
Guys?
Oh, Katarata! Big angle on the rotate, and Falls! He gets the headshot! He got them both! Falls will clutch up for Dplus Kia by the slimmest of margins!
It's 1 HP. One more bullet, that would have been the difference maker. One more player outside the building in a strong post plant. Maybe that's going to be enough for Kinotrope. They steal the plant. They get into what should have been a round victory. But it's going to be a clutch for Dplus instead. They waste no seconds. They spring into action. C4 goes out, takes down the first player. The fire's there from the Tachanka right after as well. And they push 3, 2, 1 together.
Interesting, though, the decision. I wonder, what are your thoughts there, Nick? Gutterata goes for a little bit unconventional. The general play is just directly outside, but he actually rotates out on the south side balcony, comes from east stairs down the hallway for what would have been actually, I think in my mind, a very surprise, and clearly Falls, you know, he's looking outside the window, he's looking outside the doorway. I don't think he's expecting Gutterata to push from, you know, beepers and top metal. Ultimately, it almost worked, but Falls just hit some really good shots that are 1 versus 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get very nitpicky, I think Kinotrope, you know, you send in a 1 player, because when the time is so low, you send in a 1 player, he denies the plant, he dies the Falls. Now Falls himself has to get on the defuser for a second attempt, and now you send in the second and final player from Kinotrope, and Falls is in the middle of counter defusing himself. But I think because they were so stressed, knowing that the counter defuse is getting very close to being confirmed, they are both just fully sprinting in there, and they both got into that, I'm gonna deny the plant position, giving Falls 2 of the gunfights at the same time, and he wins both, miraculously, of course. So, this is the thing, when you start planting kind of offbeat, and it works out, you might have a player go, oh, I was not ready for this, I'm gonna sprint as fast as I can, without finding any enemies in the meantime. So again, I want to praise Dplus for being so swift at communicating how to problem solve that, because had they been just a 2 seconds slower, those 2 kills and Falls would have been insignificant because there would be no time left.
And also means Dplus retake the lead, and they get the opening kill on Ayugata to start this 8th round pretty early on from Levy. They've started to equal up the opening kill margin just a little bit prior to the last 2 rounds. Previous one plus this was very much in favor of Kinotrope. But say you get a dead as well to begin 2 rounds straight, and you know, you're looking at the operators like IQ and Buck, like they have a lot of value. And so when you're on the opening death, it's a big loss for Kinotrope. Now they lose a Caillou. I mean, talk about value ops that are going out early. Now the Capitao, Nick. It's just looking really, really bad for Kinotrope. But again, they go for the quick plant. They're just putting all their eggs in this plant basket. Kawau's going to eat Nitrocells from Falls, actually. I was wondering where that came from. I had to double check the little icon of the sentry. But he gets down to half HP, but he does stay alive. Oh, you got to get
it does. Here goes the last shot, punished by Eclair again beautifully. But there's no second plant being attempted, so all these kills, this battle upstairs is all for nothing. Because Kawa's in the bomb site, completely sorted. We got out on the armory balcony. He's going to try and plant with no cover. What?
Yeah, right in front of Levy, by the way, as well, by himself. I think at that point, it's almost just waving the white flag, understanding that they're just not going to be able to win this round. But you had to give Gatorada some time. If I'm Kawau, it's all about staying alive. Gatorada's still top floor. He can clear a couple of players, and there's a minute. There was no need to go for that plant.
Oh, I respect it, but 2 rounds in a row, it's not working out fully in either of those attempts. Gatorada will drop and try and reclaim that diffuser and apply a bit of pressure on the side, but there are 3 defenders waiting for him. They got the Val cams. They're watching them. They're inside a workshop, actually, so they should know roughly where Gatorada is going to be playing from. Everyone's low.
I think that was always going to happen. Falls eventually just catches the timing as Gatorada sits still. Falls is able to creep up to the hatch and find an angle. Spots the feet, gets the kill. 2 rounds straight for Dplus. Okay, so worrying now for Kinotrope here on their map picker border. Do they think about calling a timeout? Because this is probably the best time to do it. All right, they do. Because you've now lost. When you kind of look at the overall record here, Nick, it's 5 of the last 6 rounds. Like, that is actually quite significant. The form, the momentum is all with Dplus. They've done it both on their attack, now 2 rounds on their defense. 5-3 lead. Kinotrope need to lock back in quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's very evident that they came into this game of border with a predetermined strat on the attacking side. Like the gap finding into a plant attempt where they're just kind of trying to sell that, hey, we're trying to attack you in CCTV. Oh, wait, actually, we're planting inside of archives or armory. And I like it. And you know, they planted the first time, they lost in the post. They tried planting the second time, but there was a Striker C4 that ended up being the difference maker, and it stopped them from getting that plant down. But now the question is, do they try and commit to this playstyle one more time here in Bathroom Tellers, or will they immediately shift around with Okumish calling that tactical timeout, the coach of Kinotrope? Because like you say, yeah, it's time to start flipping the script. If you lose one more round, you're looking at 6-3, it's match point against you, and border is probably going to be over before you know it. But you've just done these 2 kinds of rush rounds. I don't think you can do the third, it's going to be predictable. So now we gotta go back to basic, like roam clear, one end over, do a bit of vert, pop the hats, go for a default plant attempt. But Dplus are so well versed in that sort of playstyle, because that's the thing. Kinotrope are the strongest when they play their own game.
Well, look at their
and
lineup.
when their own game isn't working, they gotta go away from it. Yeah, they're still making up their minds at the minute, at least for Kinotrope's side.
Well, for Dplus, I think they're almost expecting Kinotrope to go into that roam game. So you bring the Oryx, you bring the Melusi, you've got the Pulse for intel gathering, you've got the Solars for intel gathering, the Ala can also, you know, throw out Griswold mines basically anywhere and roam around the map. And I think Dplus are more than happy going into Bathroom Tellers here to understand we're going to play largely top floor. We've got the Oryx that can kind of switch between second and first floor pretty quickly. So I think Kinotrope maybe have seen enough and think, yeah, you know what, maybe it hasn't been working in terms of the Monty usage, but why not 3rd time's the charm?
When in doubt, double down, triple down, do it again, see what happens.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. It's the 3rd round with the Floras. They bring the Buck Monty again. They bring the Zofia. They bring the Twitch instead of the Capitao. That's basically a very similar lineup to what we've seen from them.
Wouldn't mind Monty going for a roam clear though. I know there's an Oryx on the board here, but you can also try and bait him in, have a gun behind the Monty in close proximity. When you hear him go for the dash, you go for a counter swing. There are options. Another joining security and armory. Meanwhile, Gatorada is doing that phantom pressure over the passport doors, saying, hey, worry about this area, look over here. So I like this more calm approach from Kinotrope. Question is, can the Caillou stay alive?
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
Musi spots out the fact that Akayu is very much on this top floor at the moment.
Oh, there's Oryx. He's coming for him.
He is.
It's
Niz
bait,
is
come on,
very,
it's a
very
bait.
patient with this, though, because he's also going to be mindful, Nick, that he's not getting baited into the charge and that there's someone around the corner. And he's played that well.
Yes. But it's forcing back Akayu and the entirety of Kinotrope. Right? If Monty cannot walk forward, then no one else can either. So just near showing his presence is going to shift the entire attacking push right now. And if you can kind of follow the Monty one-to-one and kind of track his location, you can keep doing this. And look at the timer. There's 60 seconds left. Kinotrope don't have a single... Okay, they have one single player now inside the building ventilation. But it's so far away from any of the real action happening. In fact, they're back in spawn, watching for what essentially starts as spawn peaks here in CC window, in East window itself. And somehow, Akayu's in the bomb site now. Out of nowhere.
And then go over the planet side of Talus as well. Done that pretty rapidly. Nitrocell doesn't stop anything. Akayu, though, shot down by Levy. He gets that from above inside an office. 30 seconds as well. Now you got to go recapture this kit. You don't have the Monty, and you haven't got this top floor. Kawau will push from break. He may eventually have to be the one to get across the other side of this map and deal with Levy. He still has that hatch control. Vault in now as well. 17 seconds. Ayugate is the one that has to go for the kit. Kawau pushes up to Levy. He gets his third kill, and Falls will go down inside a bathroom. Huge round win for Kinotrope, and third time is the charm, Nick.
I do not understand what I just witnessed. That every attacker but one outside the building. The Monty did not get top floor control, didn't get to challenge the roamers whatsoever. He was AFK, I thought, but he dropped down the balcony, walked in passport, walked straight in the bomb site, gets a kill, starts planting, and that creates enough chaos in the server and forcing the rotations from Dplus that the other members of Kinotrope can get a couple of kills, and that's enough. They get side control, get top floor pressure, and great job, honestly, the Bach and Twitch pushing together to get that hatch control leading into bathroom as well. Not the round I thought they were going to win, but it was a round nonetheless. Kinotrope, they lose the Monty, that's been banned away, but they target ban the Melusi themselves, again, furthering that gap-finding play style. This could actually be shifting the pace a bit. This could be Kinotrope going faster. But instead of going for a direct plant with the Monty who's a bit more safe, it's going to be about playing maybe the Blitz in this case or a Blackbeard and going for kills. And that could catch Dplus by surprise. They're not ready for it.
Yeah, certainly could. That, to me, felt like map defining. Otherwise, it would have been 6-3. 3 opportunities. Eventually, Dplus would have gone back top floor, and Armory Archives will probably close this out. That was a huge must-win round for Kinotrope. Just gives them that belief as well that this is still a close game, that it's not a case of Dplus just running away with it. Looks like they're going to switch up again. And also, banning away the Montang is quite intriguing to me when Dplus have had success against it, and you've still got Blitz and Blackbeard both available, of which Akayu is going to now switch over to the Blitz. Clearly, Kinotrope wanted to double down onto this shield plate. Similar lineup again to what we've seen from Dplus on this site. They'll bring the Tachanka, they'll bring the Smoke, they'll bring the Ella. They do swap out the Wamai and the Legion for the Solus and the Mute, so those are the 2 changes on Armory Archives. But the Blitz is intriguing here for Kinotrope because you can use it in multiple ways. A push through break door, push a double pinch in towards security. You can also use it over towards the actual site itself if you want to go really quickly. Otherwise, clearing out like Fountain or Office. So as you said, I expect Kinotrope to pick up their pace because of it.
I am expecting the same thing.
Midi can't get the intel on the Blitz though.
That's true. As long as the shield has, or the Blitz has a shield in their hands, you can track the gadget with the solar scanner the entire time. If you want to do the counterplay as the Blitz player, put it on your back. Now that will no longer be the case. It's one of those. Then again, are you going to know that they have a Solus? Probably not until it's too late, because the scanner radius is quite long. You see it right here. Passport drone, outside break room door, outside east stairs. Those are all air jabs, I believe. But it does kind of shape you a picture of where that attack is going to be coming from, because there's no tracks across the map.
Oh.
Hold up. I've seen this one before. There's no way to do this with a Blitz, by the way. Like, surely there's a piece of barbed wire right below the window frame as well.
But also, it's the lineup that Dplus are bringing. Shamika Launcher, Gas Babes, Nitrocell, Impacts, Solus. This shouldn't be something Kinotrope should be able to be successful in. See if they actually go
No,
for
I think
it.
they're gonna change the plan. He dropped the diffuser case on the balcony, then dropped down as the blitz player. So he might be pushing east stairs for something else
Oh
instead.
wow, Niers just finds the kill
Goes
anyway.
down, though,
East stairs.
sadly.
Yeah, that doesn't work out. Kinotrope go for
Yeah.
a change up. They leave the case just outside the window of sight. 3 calls eaten, by the way, for Dplus. So Gatorade has gotten value out of the Tug of Payloads. He's now going to go call Levy, see if he'll answer this one. Midi goes down, so the Solar's, funnily enough, now eliminated anyway. So 4 versus 4, all tied up. Air jab placed, East Airs control, looking to be established again for Kinotrope. 1-for-1 trade keeps things equal, heading into the last 35 seconds. No more call targets available for Gatorada. Gator downside, bottom waiting. 30 seconds, still got to remember that kit is outside archives.
It's ready for a plant, though. That's the big thing. But they got the Shanka for all the plant now in the world, to be fair. Default plant should not be possible. So they gotta go for kills. They find Moosey. And Nears is solo on health, playing that mutants out of offices, looking for a window jump out, but there's almost no time left.
Oh, big headshot from Levy. Top main stairs. Gets the ping information. He gets all 3 of them. It's the Tachanka 3K at the end of the round to now establish a map point scenario for Dplus Kia. A lot of fumbling around in that round from Kinotrope, Nick, and I think it cost them in the end. The way they lost the blitz for nothing, didn't really get much value out of quite a lot of the team. A disappointing way to lose it, and now 2 rounds down.
Yeah, I think they had the blitz there or gotten the kill in the east stairs onto Nears that changed the entire story. I will respect Kinotrope here though, like the way they're playing border is quite nice. Again, the gap finding, the rotating back and forth. It might not have been the cleanest game of Rainbow Six Siege, but it has been successful, you can't deny that. Dplus are either winning a retake, they're clutching up in a 1v3, or they're finding some heroic moments individually in the server. It's not like Kinotrope are struggling at winning a round, or they never have a chance. They've had a chance every single time. It's just been that Nears has become that guy, Levy has been that guy. Moosey kind of stopped getting all the kills, and then other players took his spot instead. And now Nears, in a classic match point 6-4 lead here, goes onto the clash. Now that can stop any push from the attackers. Whether you're a shield or whether you're a gun, wherever the clash goes, they will have full information. It's going to be so hard to deal with. And they only have Sophia as sort of a soft counter. You can do the Sophia stuns if a teammate shoot their feet off the clash. And then if you get a couple of bullets and enough damage, then you can actually use the soft destruction here from Akayu and Sophia. And use all 3 towards the clash and maybe get the kill injure. That's a lot of things that gotta go right, and it's a big investment.
And workshop for this first of 2 map point opportunities the way of Dplus Kia. Reminder as well there. Map pick of bank is after this, which spells a little trouble for Kinotrope if they can't find a way to force overtime on border. Levy, bit of damage over the main lobby. Couple of counters here as well against the Valkyrie with both the Dockerby and the IQ. Can either eventually get cameras hacked, or you can, with the IQ scanner, deal with them as well. Balls, by the way, just so we don't get confused, it does have a Nitro Cell on the Sentry. And I'm not too sure if Levy has used his or not, or if it's a pre-place, but at the very least for Dplus, we do still have 1 more available in pocket.
It's been used. Yeah. Small trick here, right? Top left you see a C4. There is 1 X and there's 1 circle. Because there's an X, it means that 1 is dead. So therefore we'll know it's not a pre-place C4. We can deduct it that way. That's the only way that I know how to figure that out, at least.
I've stopped trusting up. That's ever since they've not fixed the drone
counter.
So
that is a fair point.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, no, fair point. That's maybe I shouldn't trust it actually.
You might be right. Maybe
Either
it's
way.
just drones. I don't know. But either way, a minute at the pace of Kinotrope, we thought we'd maybe pick up Nick after the Monty ban, but you look at these opening kills, 49-second at 104. We're into 109 for this one as Claire does at least find the pick onto Levy. Don't have to worry about the cameras, just deal with the Valkyrie like that. Headshot. Ayakayu, though, down courtesy of Falls, who's had a good game so far. Jugger payload call goes out onto Midi. He hasn't even got a chance to answer the call, because here comes Ayagator charging through with the skeleton key, and Kinotrope now with the extra player advantage.
Not gonna lie to you, I think if Nears can somehow find a way down this hatch and just share the information on the bomb side, make it work the verticality, that could win in the round. But the case is down the window frame of ventilation. So they're gonna rotate forward Cow on the Twitch. They got 1 spare, actually 3 smoke grenades total between them. So our plan is very much on the cards here for Kinotrope. So I think, again, it's down to Nears to get that information to his team of where that plan is happening, and then they can go for a smoke bang.
That's the final payload call from Gatorada. Again, still that nitrous cell available, but over towards Lucas Falls. I don't think it's going to have a play in this round, not especially since he's now dead. No. Nicely done from Gator and Gatorada, the old classic duo. Eclair did get off it, by the way, so he's going to have to now stick it here. Musi stuck inside of office, expecting to get pushed, which he is. It's actually a double push up from Kinotrope on this top floor. Musi will get the chance against Gator, but loses it out, and we need all rounds of regulation on border. 6-5. Kinotrope still fighting here.
Another job well done, I'm not gonna lie to you. Again, they find themselves in the middle of the bomb side. They get that kill, it causes some chaos, and had the IQ as well for the Solid's counter. And they take it nice and slow. I really want to praise Kinotrope for not rushing into bad decisions when they're up against such an experienced enemy in Dplus Kia. They took a good, 60 seconds to just kind of saying, oh guys, let's talk this through. Okay, IQ, you got the bomb site, hold the hatches, make sure that nobody can retake it. Oh, you saw a guy in bathroom, let's throw in a grenade and have Buck just sprint in and take that fight as well. We cannot waste any time. While that's happening, Kyle was outside the building, running around the whole area to pick up the diffuser and take a nice and safe approach back into the side. Go in stock, customs into blue, then started planting. And he might have died to Nears to the smoke grenade on the verticality, but then they had that same Buck player that got a kill in bathroom. He had gone back up the east staircase and traded his teammate inside of archives. So Nears in archives, gets the kill on towards Kawa planting, and then the Buck gets the kill right onto him shortly after. It's really well done, lots of layers, and a ton of communication here from Kinotrope.
I've got 2 fun facts for you, Nick, which is the fact that we just broke a record. Dplus here up to that round had a 100% map point conversion, which was 5 from 5 opportunities. They, of course, lose that round. That no longer is 100%. And for Kinotrope, they have an 80% round win rate when facing match point deficits.
No, you're kidding.
So they now make it 9 rounds won out of 11. It was previously 8-10. We'll see if they can do it again. But clearly, Kinotrope are just the kind of team that are very difficult to put away. They can just seemingly get themselves back into a series. One last chance, otherwise overtime required. We're going to triple down with the C4s for Dplus Kia. Bathroom Tellers won last time as well by Kinotrope. Doesn't bode well for Dplus Kia. They've not won this site defensively in this half, as Aegeta gets a lot of early position towards Office. This is really good. Early control for Kinotrope. Love this pacing.
It does feel a bit like Dplus are afraid of losing a player early to those shenanigans of the gap find. So now they're playing just all on the same floor here, downstairs. They got the Kite Claw to fortify the hatches, Tuba to stall it down, to Shanka for plant denial, and Omai to help them play in those few playable spots. So this is Dplus trying to change the entire pacing of the rounds of playing a passive game of Siege. Kinotrope got a blitz, they got the solid snake, they got information. Kawa goes down injured. Mitzi and Nearest both taking a bit of damage from Duke be called. Aegeta goes down too.
This is not looking good though for Kinotrope. Well played. I love the adjustment from Dplus Kia playing what many would probably consider scared or playing defensive. But if it worked, who cares? You can't criticize a win, and it looks like they may just win. Eclair and Gatorada, the last 2 left for Kinotrope. And when you still get a breakthrough, a 5-man bunker down defensive setup with a clutch shield on your face, this almost seems impossible. This seems frightening how difficult this really is. You needed a freebie onto Falls. He doesn't give it to you. He gets 3 in this round. Dplus Kia are going to take Border, the map pick of Kinotrope, to start this lower bracket final. They take it 7-5. All rounds of regulation were required. Bank is up next and now becomes must win for Kinotrope, or they are out of Stage 1 finals.
안녕하세요. 저는 레인보우 식스 시즈 프로게이머 하퍼고요. 에이펙 노스 지역에서 활동하고 있습니다. 제가 게임을 처음 시작하게 된 건 이제 가족의 영향이 제일 컸고요. 그 중에 특히 집에서 부모님 둘이서 이제 컴퓨터 2대를 가져다 놓고 같이 게임하는 걸 매우 좋아하셨고, 이제 집에도 플레이스테이션 2, 3, 1까지 다 있었어가지고 뭐 자연스럽게 그런 환경의 영향을 받은 것 같고요. 제가 제일 처음에 했던 게임은 메탈 기어 솔리드 2였고 제가 제일 좋아했고, 뭐 컴퓨터도 있었어가지고 뭐 RTS, FPS, TPS 정말 여러 장르를 하면서 이제 FPS 할 때가 제일 즐거웠던 것 같습니다. 근데 저한테는 8살 아래 남동생이 있고, 남동생한테도 레인보우 식스를 추천을 해서 같이 해봤었는데 한 중학교인가 초등학교 6학년 때 생각보다 잘하고, 제가 게임 지식만 알려주고 뭐 에임은 저보다 반응 속도나 이런 건 좋더라고요. 피가 이어져 있는지 모르겠는데 그래가지고 생각보다 즐겁게 했었어요. 스트레스도 안 받고 좀 못해도 귀여우니까. 특히 저희 아빠가 클라우드9에서 제의가 왔다는 소식을 듣고 제가 어떻게 할지 고민하는 척 연락을 해봤는데, 오히려 부모님이 더 좋아하시면서 절대로 해라, 너 이거 안 하면 너 끝이다 하면서 무조건 하라고 등 떠밀어 주셨던 기억이 있습니다. 아직 국제전 우승은 없어가지고 막 그렇게 특별한 기억은 없는데, 그래도 막 국내 대회 우승하거나 해외 진출한다고 했을 때 막 부모님이 막 회사 사람들한테 자랑하거나, 그리고 막 제 프로필 사진을 메신저 프로필 사진으로 바꿔놓는다거나 막 그런 건 보였어. 민망하기도 한데 뭐 한편으로는 좀 뿌듯하기도 하고 나쁘지 않은 것 같아요. 본인한테 들은 얘기로는 운동선수 쪽으로 간다고 하고, e스포츠 커리어는 뭐 저랑 같이 게임했다 정도밖에 없는 것 같아요. 좀 복합적인 것 같은데, 그래서 저는 레인보우 식스를 플레이하기 전까진 다른 게임에서 경쟁심이라는 걸 딱히 느껴본 적이 없었는데, 이제 이 게임을 시작하고 나고 이제 저보다 약하다고 생각하는 사람들한테 지거나 할 때부터 약간 막 가슴에서 좀 불이 나는 듯한 느낌이 들으면서, 이게 뭔가 계속 열심히 하는 게 이제 꾸준히 반복되다 보니까 이렇게 된 것 같네요.
Tell you what, they really had to pull out all the stops there. Dplus looking good toward the latter end of that game. But Kinotrope, they won't let them go without a fight. Unfortunately, that fight was just not deep enough.
Yeah, look, I want to give a lot of credit to Kino. They're such a fun team to watch because they always bring different, unique stuff. We talked already about the Maestro in the halftime.
Yep.
Also saw Thunderbird, which we didn't mention. Bit of a weird one, especially Thunderbird with shotgun bearing 9.
Yep.
I like that they're tempted to try new things, but I was disappointed that they kind of stopped once they went into the attacking side. I said, Kino is so good with these power operators. Let's see the Glaz, let's see all this stuff. And yeah, they tried Monty a few times, tried to blitz a few times, but it was reasonably uninspired compared to what I expect to see out of Kino. A lot of 1vx's from both teams, and Dplus just much better at digging their heels in.
Unfortunately so. You know, like it does suck for Kinotrope because they do have good ideas. They had really great intentions. I mean, like we were going through on the Telestrator looking constantly at all these rounds and how close they were, and it was coming down somewhat to utility usage in the later rounds. Some players not really stepping up when they should be. Some missed timing, some missed synergy. But I think ultimately this is still one of those maps where this could have gone 6-6. We well and truly could have gone to overtime here. It's not for a lack of trying. It's more for Dplus locking in. As we say, digging heels in is pretty important in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And look, also it lends itself to the nature of the map, right? It's Border we're talking about, the most aggressive map in the pool. Dplus really embraced that. It's the thing about like a really small, really aggressive map like this can be so hard to play against when you're defending because the attackers can play outside the building, they can get to the building really quickly, they can rotate a lot, which is something that Pengu mentioned Kinotrope are actually pretty good at, having a bit of perceived pressure, having a split push. Thing is, it's very hard to actually execute that playstyle on the attack when the defense is having a lot of success getting really aggro, and that's exactly what Dplus did. They had their plant denial, they always understood the win conditions because Kino were going constantly for those plants, often in the smokes. Dplus were always aware of how quick they were to get to the plant. Like if there was a plant coming down, they're always in position to go in and deny it. And they were also still constantly putting the pressure on Kinotrope. All green flags, all good. Thing is, with Kinotrope losing that, without even taking it to OT, next up we go to Bank.
Yeah.
Dplus have picked that map. They haven't shown it. It's similar to Border in that as a defender, you can get really aggressive, but it's got this extra layer of problem solving you have to work into your attacks. I honestly think Kinotrope are going to be fine on defense here. I think they're pretty good.
They should be.
Attack is where I'm really worried about.
Yeah, which
is their attacks just haven't been up to snuff today.
It's so funny because coming into today, if you had asked me where I think Kinotrope thrive, it's on attack. It's on being able to dictate the pace. Like you were saying with those split pushes, I mean, there's so many rounds that you can kind of look at from Border. I'm thinking back to the first attacking round of Border where Kinotrope are throwing the Monty in to get a plan, and their split push is literally from 3 different areas of the map. Ultimately, it comes down to a Falls unbelievable 1v2 clutch, right? It's unreal, but the chaos that they cause inside the server, I don't know how Dplus like consumed it. They absorbed it really well on a couple of those rounds, and that really scares the crap out of me because I'm no longer just talking about this series. I'm talking about next series. If I'm seeing Dplus be able to absorb what Kinotrope are throwing at them on Border, if they have a really good bank, I mean, sky's the limit for what this roster can achieve.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, momentum comes into it. I think Dplus were probably expecting a pretty tough fight against Kinotrope. We were expecting 3 maps, and I thought, while Dplus were favored, this is like a 60-40. It's not like a 70-30, 80-20.
Not even
like,
close.
This is not as much of an upset. If Kinotrope beat Dplus today, that's not as much an upset as Orchid beating Daystar yesterday.
I would agree with that, which is crazy to say, right?
I know, right? But Kinotrope have really shown a lot in Stage 1. And a reason that we are believing in them is because they have beaten Dplus before. But now Dplus have landed the first blow on Border, and we go to their map pick of Bang, and I'm scared for Kinotrope. I think Dplus might be able to get it done in 2.
Well, this is to contextualize how close this series is in particular. Heading into today, it was a 2-2 map record. It was a 1-1 split in the series. Dplus had them in a best of 3. Kinotrope had them in a best of 1. ultimately splitting these two teams comes down to a microscope. It really does, and it's on the day. It's what Dplus are doing on that defensive side that I think is going to continue to throw Kinotrope out, which is why I'm actually a little bit worried that Dplus do get to start on defense here, because what we just saw on Border was them consistently repelling back Kinotrope's attacks, no matter how well Kinotrope attacked.
Bands.
Yeah, well, there you go. Leaning into the same bands.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt there,
No, please,
Rob.
please,
I
please.
really agree with everything you're saying. I think
Whether you
Dplus
do or
starting. I think Dplus really starting on defense is good for them, because when Kino get into defense, what are we going to see? We're going to see more Maestro. We're going to see classic Kinotrope stuff. But Dplus on their defense, they just ban out the Grim again. They ban out the Ying again. Kinotrope haven't shown confidence using those shields successfully. They were pretty touch and go with the Monty and the Blitz, and the ability to lean into other power-ups has just been disappointing. Like, Kinotrope didn't play Glass once on Border. I want to see that here in the first half, because they need to go big now. Like, there's no second chances. If you have pitiful half on attack of Bank, then I don't care how many times you play Maestro, you're not getting more than 3 rounds of defense.
Well, let's lock in. There are some pretty critical operators being picked right now for Kinotrope. Let's not waste any more time. Let's leave you in the capable hands of Xenox and Pengu.
Thank you, boys. And yeah, it's not looking good for Kinotrope. I agree with the sentiment of James. It's looking like Dplus. If they look switched on, a very strong Border. Now they get to go to their map pick of Bank. They get to also start on defense as well, Nick. It's shaping up well for the Brazilians. And need I remind everyone, but the last time these two teams met, you kind of look at the series as a whole. Yes, it was a 2-1 like all the others in APAC North, but that included a 7-0 and a 7-3 in favor of Dplus against Kinotrope, and the only map that Kinotrope won was an 8-7. So clearly, what we've seen from the 4 maps now played, Dplus a 3-1 in the 4, and the only one they lost was an 8-7. It doesn't bode well for Kinotrope.
No, it doesn't. But to be honest, like the pocket stress they had on Border, if they bring that same kind of creativity to the likes of Bank, I think that could get them a good amount of rounds on the board. We're gonna get the Fuse in the mix in the very first round. The Twitch shotgun, by the way. Red flags, okay, red alert here. Twitch shotgun solely to challenge the staircases here on main or server stairs. The issue is, even if you are successful in getting that one pick, you can't take any future fights. So the drone goes in, it's gonna pop the door. They're not gonna expect the Twitch shotty. That's why it's so genius. So I'm keen to see what the outcome will be. While this is happening, they're gonna be taking the rest of the map control, open area, around the main stairs, an elevator. Oh, down the hatch we go. That means full map control now, fully attack Kinotrope in a minute and 35 seconds to work with. That is actually really good. And to make it even easier, the defenders have fallen back from that server staircase, completely surrendered server control, so they can go for a default plant. I feel like now, you're in a spot where you have to send a Gator on the Twitch after using the drone, of course. Either he's going to be fighting main staircase as a backstabber with that shotgun, or he's going to be on the... Cowards is in the site!
He's just in lockers, Nick!
How?
He's just in lockers!
How?
He gets 2 kills, and with that opens up, but he has been dealt with, and unfortunately no one else could really get in through server. Gator, though, was able to win his battle against Nears. That was from the admin hatch. Musi searching. This has gone horribly wrong for Dplus. A sneaky little Dokubi has infiltrated the site, and the rest have just completely capitulated because of it. They win the round because of it. That is a huge round from Kowal. I know he wasn't the only one, but he was the big factor. And I'm going to go back and have a look and see how he's even got there.
Yeah. I mean, he must have dropped the lobby hatch, just walked into red, right? Because his teammates were in server, there was Goyo Fire. The enemies at Garrett's control couldn't have gone there. And I don't think he walked down the main staircase because they would have walked past like 2 different attackers or defenders,
He
rather.
just dropped open.
So he must have dropped the lobby. He dropped open. He dropped the corner hatch, just walked in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have like the full camera of it, but other than that, I can see that he's gone open into hallway, into red, 2 kills, and that's enough. That's a ballsy move to do, Nick, because we don't usually see that, because with 5 players on site defensively, that really shouldn't be allowed.
Someone's bound to hold it. Yeah. I mean, like I said, they had a player on main stairs, they had a player in Garage, they had a player in red. That's 3 people where any of them, if they're watching the hatch just for a short second, if they hear the sound drop, you should be a freebie. Maybe you do it for a 1-for-1 trade at most, but he found 2 kills and stayed alive for a good while after. That can literally win you the round. I was about to say the big question for me was whether Aegator becomes the planter with that Twitch shotgun because he cannot take a gunfight, or if you send him to the main staircase to try and force a close quarter engagement. And as I was talking about that, he said, nope, that's not even going to happen at all. A sole player can do all the work there. Great job from Kinotrope. And like I said, pocket strats, if they have those one-offs that they did on Border and apply that to a map of Bank that is very execute heavy, I think that's really good. Now Dplus, what I think they should be doing differently is something that Border makes you do naturally. On Border, you're forced to fight, you're forced to take some gunfights, you're forced to disrupt the attackers before they reach the site itself. Bank, it can be very opposite. If you don't consciously make that effort to take early fight, you will often end up in a 5v5, 30 seconds left, often on basement, often on top floor. I think Dplus needs to force some fights early, disrupt Kinotrope, because if you take away a couple of players or a couple of important operators, they can no longer execute those pocket strats that they've been cooking up for this game. So I want to see Dplus fight early and not allow Kinotrope into that space.
Yeah, I agree. But if Kinotrope is smart, they can also go quick to try and circumnavigate that. They're immediately into top square. I like this. This is a little bit old school. Get the breach on this right side wall, top square. Open this up, then put pressure towards Janitor, and it gives you that kind of square control. A couple that with the repel game, it's the airlock later on. They've got the Capital to flame out Janitor. And the Clash right now is more worried about stock in this hallway position, but Kinotrope don't really need to fight for that. The fact that they've already got a square opened up, you can get the Kali on the repel. And this is so far so good from Kinotrope. I'm liking what I'm seeing here on Bank. This is looking much better than Border. In fact, Gutterrider's got a really nice angle here. And Musi has immediately gone down because of it.
Sadly, they can't act upon it with a gun, so a fire goes out instead. That doesn't confirm the kill, but they're gonna start planning instead. Again, chaos in the server, but it's denied by the smoke.
And no more gas babes though, so this is actually still something that Kinotrope can fight for. Here Gator got the pistol act on the kill. Gatterada again with the Kali.
Still injured.
And Musi still injured means it's only Nears. Musi was injured at the start of the round. Everyone else is just falling around beside him. He is trying to clear out top main stairs, but he's going to get pushed on now in towards Janitor. It's a double stack of Aegator and Declare. Nears is going to have to leave the shield behind, go for the kill. Declare pops up. This is a huge start from Kinotrope. A 2-0 statement here on Bank, the map pick of Dplus, and so far, Nick, they have actually set the tone on their attack. They are doing what they want to do. Dplus can't get their defensive game going at all.
Oh, they have, and I really enjoy the off-pace player from Kinotrope. When you get an injure onto the DMR player, Musi on their Rooney, often you're going to be thinking, they got to get a grenade in there, the counter fire, send in the blades, try and confirm that kill, and kind of work through it logically, building the advantage bigger and bigger and bigger. Instead, they do fire, smoke, rabble in, start planting. When the defenders then throw out a toxic bait to deny that plant, okay, now we got to go for kills. We got to turn up the aggression, turn up that level, rappel down Lobby Scala with the sniper of Kali, get another kill, walk up the staircases, work together, isolate Nears on the Clash, make him useless. It's again really good shine of communication from Kinotrope and everyone understanding all the angles through the round. Who's holding the angle, who's watching the flank, who's the planter, who's the cover. There's not a ton of mistakes happening that Dplus can actually punish very easily. And that's how these rounds they look so solid from Kinotrope. They don't make a ton of mistakes, but they're doing it in a round that is super chaotic and easy to make mistakes in. It's very high level, and it was a close game of Border, right? A 7-5 victory with Dplus, where a lot of rounds could have been Kinotrope's.
That's a very early death onto Levy, by the way. I was trying to get some stats ready for this third round. I was going to mention that this site, Nick, in APAC North is the most defender-sided. The other two actually very attacker-sided for what is overall an attacker-sided map in APAC North at 63%. But you lose Levy, you lose the smoke. This is supposed to be the site you can find some success in. Kinotrope can now actually circumnavigate the fact they don't have to deal with some of that delay from the gas babes. That's really good for the Montang as well. It does still, of course, need to deal with 2 of these nitro cells, but Kinotrope so far have responded as well as you possibly can for a team that lost the opening map. Their Bank so currently has been pretty much flawless. They haven't done anything wrong. They've made a really good power play in the opening round, really good teamwork in the second round, and so far to start the third round, a very sharp 2-minute 49 opening kill. Dplus at some point need to probably call a timeout. If they lose this round, I would take an immediate timeout with the next ban and double down on that, because then the next 3 rounds become must win.
Yeah. Let's get down the smoke as early as they have. Plus, you got the Monty. That could actually change Kinotrope's attack. You know, when the round begins, they're gonna want to do a certain attack. When they take down the smoke, they go, could we just cheese a plant, walking in from bottom skylight in towards the bomb side and plant behind that half wall inside the kitchen? Maybe. And I think Kinotrope right now is just looking for what's going to be the least path of resistance right now. Doing a bit of vert, getting the hatches, throwing the bomb side, taking the center here in Archives and Tellers. They are just pushing Dplus Kia further in towards a small corner of the bomb side. Métis C4 takes down Eclair though, but Cow trades right back. Again, Kinotrope always have a solution when a small problem arrives.
Yeah, they get rid of the Azami. Akayu though into open area, so this is now where they're going to have to fight this out. Akayu can be defensive with the shield up, not give away his position, but he can also go for the plant at any moment. No more Nitro Cells to contest him either. As Musi does actually find the angle. I don't think that's something that really should have been possible against the Monty. And it's not as if they had vert against him either. He just gets a sideways swipe. Kowal's done it again. This is literally the second time now. He did it to Falls last time, Nick. He's done it to Midi. Every time Dplus kind of bring the round back to an equal advantage, for some reason, they decide to go and peek and swing Kowal. And every single time, he punishes them. Now, by the way, Dplus have kit. Keep that in mind with 20 seconds left. Musi finally shuts down Kowal, wins that battle. 1-for-1 trade and leaves it down to Musi and Ayagator. He can play kit with 10 seconds left. Musi knows that Ayagator has to push directly towards him, so he will move away underneath the hatches stock and then pop up with a headshot. So well played by Musi. Wins the round for Dplus Kia.
Comes down to the very tiny details again. Ayagator, he messed up the reload animation twice. So when he had Musi dead to his right, proning on the floor, he didn't have any bullets. Goes for almost a full reload, cancels it last second by ADSing, and again is looking at Musi without bullets in the magazine, has to go for a second reload, and Musi will reposition and then get the round victory. Bit of a hard breaker if you're a fan of Kinotrope, but a well-needed clutch for Dplus. The bans come out. Dokkaebi actually banned away here on Bank. Not the most, I was going to say, a high presence rate usually, like in the server. You can pick it every single round, but it doesn't always lead to something. The Asami on the flip side, it's one you play almost on every single side, every single round. Always has a very high presence. You feel the power of that operator. And it does leave all the shields open for Kinotrope further, which, like you said, it has not really been successful for them on border, nor here in Bank with Hakayu dying way too early in this round.
But the Azami and the Dokkaebi will be the bans. Dokkaebi played twice in the opening 2 rounds. Azami actually just the once there on staff and open area. That felt like it was really needed for Dplus Kia, though, after what's been a bit of a statement start here from Kinotrope. Clearly in this lower final, they don't want to be bowing out yet. They want that opportunity against CAG in the grand final later this evening. So Lockers and CCTV, 4th round. Dplus will try it again. Basement. Admittedly, though, Nick, I mean, everything in that opening round was kind of going to plan in terms of when you bring the smoke, the Tachanka, the Vulcan canisters, or the denial. In fact, they're bringing the exact same lineup, so it's exactly the same. Everything was working out. I think there was only about maybe 40 seconds, maybe 50 seconds left in the round, so Kinotrope had got server, but then they hadn't dealt with Vulcan canisters. They still needed to, there were still 3 gas babes, there were still nitro cells. All of the denial was still there for the defense until Kowal just drops open, gets a double kill, and completely unravels the round. This time, I imagine Dplus will have someone watching that. In fact, they even start with Media over towards open area.
I'm just looking right now at all the various positions. You mentioned open area. If Dplus can hold on to that for a bit and play server stairs, that can change a lot of things. When you play the Tachanka and the smoke, commonly they will see that exact thing kind of happen. You'll play the server stairs with your life. Tachanka then plays the side. You get time denial on both areas. But now, though, Kinotrope are just slowly making good progress here. They're in lobby. They force back the Mitzi from open area. Yep. Dplus actually falling all the way back above the smoke and the Tashanka. They again do not want to surrender any easy kills here on the staircase. So timer is very accurate here. They're of course going to be the Goyo fire and whatnot when they get to the bomb site later on that they can clear from the hatches. But they don't got to worry about server. Because I'm not sure they know about it just yet. They haven't opened the door or checked it with a drone. But Gator, maybe looking for a cheeky kill here on the main staircase, goes down very early to Levy, to Falls, just simply holding an angle.
Out this time onto the Lion rather than the Dokkaebi, but it just doesn't create the same level of pressure with those Lion scans. Looks like it'll be a pretty standard default push through from server side for Kinotrope. Wow, this is basically what he did last time, Nick. But instead of sitting here and watching it, he just dropped, found a gap in the timing. Surely he doesn't go for it again. That would be asinine to do the same thing twice and not expect the Dplus to, of course, rectify the issue. This time he switches over to Elevator. Oh, double Razor Bloom drop. He does avoid one of them, though. It felt like walking into a pit. He stays alive inside of Elevator and offers that pinch here towards the site. Eclair going for the plant. Muse is the only one left alive. Gatorada's found 3. Huge kill from Muse, but the plant will be successful, and there is a pinch in sight. Elevator being held by Kawau. Eclair immediately will go up blue stairs. Muse could go and get on this kit and stick it immediately, but no. Opts to get off it. Flash thrown in. That's going to help Kawau push forward from lobby. Eclair then gets the kill. Kinotrope take basement again.
Beautiful. Again, the mini plays, understanding who's planting, who is covering, who is going to be that backstab of Kawa. And they actually invested 2 Razor Thorns, or Razor Blooms rather, and a Goyo Fire just to stop that Elevator hatch drop. He still gets down there. He still becomes valuable to the round, and he also takes away the distraction of 2 separate defenders. So a job well done. And it's the beauty of these basement attacks, rather, on maps like Bank and Clubhouse. We've seen so many roam clear, take server, plant default, and duke the C4 in the smoke, etc. We're starting to see from Kinotrope all the small details. Backstepping Red Hatch very quickly. Second time, backstepping Elevator very late. And it's those small, tiny switch-ups that I think are truly winning them the rounds because they're not predictable. Whenever Dplus feel like they're in control, they aren't. Like, they got opening picked at a 5v4. They had good bit of plan denial. They had good bit of information. They still lose the round in a 2v1 fashion. And it's not the first time. And I would also argue that, again, if Akai could have stayed a bit more alive than the Monty for open area attack, this could have very easily been a 4-0. And, it might be the map pick of Dplus, but it's been the map performance from Kinotrope.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Nick. I think you've pretty much put it there perfectly, that what we also see from teams is they maybe try and do a little too much. So really for Kinotrope, it's largely default with a little adaptation. Other teams will be like, oh, let's go a 3-stack vault drop, and then we'll go double push down main stairs. And they try and just change it up a little too much. I think Kinotrope have kept it pretty defaulty, but also just that tiny little switch up, and that's been the difference. 3-1 up. But what I will say, I think this will be pretty attacker-sided based on what the statistics say for the region on this map. So Dplus may only need 2 defensive rounds. We're going to go back to the top floor. Second time seeing this. Saw it back in the second round. That was, of course, the blitz play from Gator, but most importantly was the Kali play of Gatorada, and he'll bring that again.
We'll be on for 3 big booms right here. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom! This is Levy on the smoke, dead first. Most of these rounds, 0-5 on the scoreboard. The only real plant denier for this top floor hold. Yes, they have a C4, but you can't throw it far enough unless you're inside a janitor's closet to actually get a plant denial going. So that is a huge pick again. And also from the mental side of things, Levy's gonna feel so frustrated. He knows right now that he's letting his team down by playing that important operator in the smoke and not finding any value with the gadgetry for this one. They breach the CEO walls. They set their eyes towards the bomb site pressure, but they cannot get baited into this. They don't have an easy way to go for plant, right? There's no coverage except for the 2 on the Kali, who's very far away right now, watching the flank on lobby basically, and there's no shield. So don't feel like you can just go for a cheeky plant. That's probably not gonna work. Kinotrope gotta keep up the pressure, but take it nice and slow. Try and look for 1 more kill. Clear a bit of that utility. Get rid of that shield, the now relays, etc. Really bleed Dplus dry right now before you commit to the play.
You can just feel the pressure for Dplus, the way that they're just trying to hold on to these more back-of-site positions like long desk and janitor. Kinotrope, 50 seconds left in this round, but they've been so precise and swift in their attacks. This is falls towards lobby. Are they prepared for it? They've got the ping information. It is taking some time, and it is forcing Gatorada to go deal with it. He pushes through ATMs. This is what you want, though, if you're Dplus, provided Falls can win the fight, and he does. Not only does he get the kill, Nick, but there's now only 27 seconds left, and they've just lost another 2 players. Wow, falls 2 to Musi. It's only Claire towards CEO with the kit in hand and needs to think about the plant while Falls is still towards lobby. But Musi still holds position in the hallway, but he can't find the way to swing in. It will be a successful plant down from Eclair. You say get out. Does he even have the chance to get out? Challenge towards Square, trying to take the 1 versus 1 against the DMR of Musi, who ran out of bullets and thinks about the pistol swing. Oh, the balls on this man. 2 to 3, 1 more round to go in the half as Dplus bite back on the top floor.
It's been Musi so many times on border. It's Musi again here, twice on bank, open area, and now CEO locking it around for his team. But what happened on borders when Musi started slowing down on side swap, the entire team started losing a couple of rounds. There's been such a huge dependency on this star player, the former world champion, to really rise to the occasion. Kinotrope, though, they keep showing us they can find the gap, they can make the play, and if Falls also not won that gunfight as a thrown instead of lobby taking down the Kali, that would have been a huge man advantage execute there for Kinotrope.
Oh, man.
So Falls is one of the captains, started off that push for Dplus.
It's been a big performance from Falls, massive from Musi. Falls, by the way, 15 kills, Musi 15 kills. They lead together for Dplus in the series. 17 kills from Gatorada is the leader for Kinotrope. 1 round to go in this half. And the start of this game has just all been Kinotrope, but Dplus, 2 of the last 3 rounds, they've just found a way to keep themselves competitive, and that's all you need to do. And 2 defensive rounds on bank may end up being enough, but they would love a 3rd as we go to staff an open area, of which they successfully defended back in the 3rd round. Look at the survivor rate of this map of bank. In the last 3 rounds, 1 alive, 2 alive, 2 alive. Multiple multi-kills. We've seen 2 plants. It's been close. It's been back and forth. Not a lot separating these 2 teams, as Border was quite similar. A 7-5 margin, suggesting just that.
Yeah.
Drone ready.
And what more could Dplus ask for right now? Just gotta get Liv in the action, and they're gonna be playing at 100% again. He's back on smoke, back in Generous Closet, hopefully looking for a different outcome. Kinotrope are not showing us any kind of pocket-style operators, nothing that they can use to really get an advantage that we haven't seen before. Meanwhile, Nears is ratting inside of CEO, which might be good for a freebie here if the player were to rattle on in. Does he get rattled? That's the question, because sometimes when they open a window like that, you might think, oh my god, they know that I'm here. I can't sit still. But by breaching this wall, they're showing us they do not know he was just hiding inside of CEO office.
I don't think they've got the idea yet, but they will. Okay, Pest gets a nice drone. Sneers is going to be able to collect himself a drone. Good information available for Dplus if he does want to play, but the problem is he is in CEO, Nick. He doesn't have the time to go play with that drone. In fact, he just has time to just sit and tuck and hide.
He's gonna let them run past him.
Well, this is smart when you kind of...
And now, instead of being an early kill player, he's gonna become the flanker, right?
The Mozzie Pest have done their job. And, oh, Nears, trigger discipline. To the highest degree. Oh, but he's absolutely made a meal of it. No way!
Oh,
Nears would love to have that moment again. It's a travesty. The trigger discipline to begin with, then backfires on the misfire spray. Costs him, maybe, therefore his team. And it gives Kinotrope the extra player number heading into the last 50 seconds of this half.
Tough one. Either you stand up fast and get that freebie or try and play the backstab. Uses a bit of both, doesn't find anything. Falls is on the clash though. The bar should be a space in the bumps that you don't normally have. and also the freedom to deny any real pushes in one single area. Levy finds one. His first kill on the board now. He's alive.
Oh, he's got no idea. Ayagata does not know he's getting
timing.
backstabbed. He's going to get killed by Musi. Easy kill. Musi's not messing up with that one. Dplus have been able to wrangle it back again from the likes of Musi and Falls. Levy's helped out too with 2 big kills. When he doesn't get Zoftek, look what he can do on that smoke. It's Kawhi now pushing through admin. Indeed, Levy with a 3K. You give the chance to Levy. He finds 3 kills. He doesn't die at the start of the round, and he is the impact player. All tied again at the half, 3-3. Oh, we're back. So, oh, it's just jamming out there.
So
Me and Nick
good.
were just jamming out. It is still lower bracket final map 2. Dplus, Kinotrope. Welcome back for the halftime vibe check. Dplus are going to go onto the attack now, Nick, here on Bankers. They look to lock up this second map, therefore the series. A little bit of a comeback. 2 rounds straight to close the half. It was looking really, really good for Kinotrope, but credit to Dplus. They find the form when needed most.
Kind of crazy the story has been comeback story for Dplus here in Bang. It is not what I think anybody expected, but that's very much been the case. Musi as an individual has won probably 2 of the 3 rounds so far, and they're in the final third one they had in the half. Levy also came alive, having a really hard time playing the smoke. He was 0-5 going into that 6th round. Now he's 3-5 and really made up for the previous rounds. So we go into Kinotrope's defenses. We gotta see something from them, right? There hasn't been that Maestro pocket ban. There also hasn't been him being picked here in the very first round. I will say it can be tricky to fit Maestro on bank. There's not a ton of safe areas to go onto the cameras and actively use them, and that's kind of one of the issues of playing Maestro or the Echo, even the Valkyrie at times. Unless a defender dies early on, which usually is a bad thing, you can't really watch the cameras all that often. In the current meta of Siege, with the gap finding, faster pace, and seeking opportunities in the moment, it's so dangerous to not have your gun up ready for a fight. So Kinotrope play a bit more active utility here. The Razor Blooms, the Mirror Windows, but they still get the information with the Valkyrie for later usage. Starting in the basement to no surprise. Let's see how Dplus will pick this apart.
What is a surprise is in that opening half, 5 opening kills were not converted into round wins. Only 1, which is a very, very strange margin. Typically, it's the other way around. Oh, I just almost took the microphone out of the socket. I shouldn't be doing that. I got a little bit too too high with the dancing before. Oh, Midi, there is an opening kill. Well, we'll see if that's going to change things in terms of the conversion percentage. Onto Kawau. And the Solid Snake finding the opening kill is pretty much the job of the Snake with that radar to get the information to then play off it. They get an aggressive, flood-heavy lineup. Throw the Candelas in, activate the death mark. Get the Solid Snake into a close position. Gatorada. Oh, there is one on the other side of the wall. Ooh.
He's right there.
Gets pinged out though, so his position is known, and he just gets
so
swarmed. Falls, gets the kill onto the Wamai. Kinotrope running out of troops in this opening round of the half. That first Candela didn't even go into the elevator. That second one will. Forces out the swing of a Gator. Well played from Levy. Kinotrope, but we haven't, like, they're just falling apart.
Yep. One by one they fall, no trade whatsoever. That's a big switch up from their attacking side where they're so swift at helping each other in those dire moments. In fact, what Akayu is hiding beneath the desk. All his teammates are dying. Eclair is about to suffer that same exact fate. He's the last man to 1v5. He's prone beneath the desk.
Well, Akayu would
he'll be good for one, right?
We have seen a 1v5 from this position. His name was Wettables. It did happen in Oasis stage. But this is a very different match against very different players, and there's a lot
minute left.
And there's a whole extra 50 seconds on the clock. So it's very, very different. Akayu's going to get at least one. Catches Niz, no more than that though. Dplus are going to take the lead. They make it 3 straight rounds, Nick. They make it 4 of the last 5. I think they were the ones that were probably jamming out at halftime alongside us, as Kinotrope now look a little bit sorry for themselves, realizing maybe this is getting away from them. Dplus now 3 rounds away from the grand final.
Oh man, big praise to Levy as well. I genuinely was a bit fearful about his performance. You know, if mentally he was going to check out and just lose his confidence, but first on attack, he's onto the Ying, makes the interplay, gets the kills out of elevators, and just doesn't slow down at all. For Kinotrope, what you do in this kind of position is often exactly this. You just switch the bomb side, go somewhere else, basement wasn't working, you lost all your fights, strategically you didn't have an angle to play. But I'm looking at the defender lineup right now, and I'm not seeing like a ton of different win conditions. Okay, they're playing the Bandit. They can now deny the elevator walls from any ranged hard destruction, of which Dplus currently have none of, so that's not going to matter necessarily. Then they have a single C4 and Smoke Babes on Akayu for plant denial and a DMR Negator. It doesn't feel like there's a very clear win condition necessarily here for Kinotrope outside the usual, let's just fight and kind of see what happens. There is going to be a Hibana re-peek at the very end now, so we could actually see an interaction between Gatorada on the Bandit and Force on the Hibana, and then the question becomes, can they deny all those Skyra pillars from that elevator wall? Or will they suffer, you know, maybe a death to a grenade while Bandit tricking? That's going to be the mini game that should matter the most.
That's even if Dplus really want to play into that game. I feel like in the modern era of Siege, we don't really see Kanto get opened up all that much. Or at least not as much emphasis.
Not necessarily, no.
Doesn't help as well that you can actually just ban away, and we do see teams ban away the Hibana and the Ace, of which then you just can't literally open it up at all.
I was willingly in this corner, by the way, but there's no Amaya Jaeger, so bro could be cooked momentarily. We'll have to see.
Ooh. Oh, mate,
Oh,
you just... Oh,
yep.
Nick, clairvoyant. He's looked into the crystal ball, and he's found Kawau's death. You've timed that one perfectly.
Unlucky.
Don't you love that feeling, though, when you give that... You just call it out like that, and it just happens immediately.
I love it when it's something cool. It's just I just cast a Kurikawa basically. That's not cool at all. I'm trying to help my homies out here.
Well, who's dead next, Nick? Who's dead next?
I mean, it's gotta be Airgator, right? He's gonna be fighting that quad window position, and either you're gonna get a kill or get killed, because this is very much an active position to play. Gotta worry about the ATM repel, the skylight repel, the bomb site window repels.
No, it's Gatorada.
I was wrong. Gatorada on Bandit dies, who was downstairs trying to help Airgator, who is now next in line.
Ah, we'll see. They do bring a lot of bodies over towards front desk. They got the repel down, as you mentioned. And as well, plenty of time still available for Dplus here. Their time game in the second half so far, 2 rounds in, has been really, really sharp. They're not wasting any time. They're pretty quick to converge close to site and deal with these more outward defenders.
They're back in the corner.
Claire goes down to Falls. Ball's now up to 9 kills. He's had a tremendous series. Usually caught by Akayu. He's out of gas papes, by the way. Gator finally does die front desk. It took a little bit of time, but Midi found that kill pushing up lobby. And 40 seconds down, the 1 versus 4. Yeah. I feel like Kinotrope are about to call a tactical timeout. It may be quite literally after this round, because they're going to be 5-3 down, and Dplus have looked really solid on their attacks. These 2 rounds, Nick, have not even looked close. This is scary now for Kinotrope.
Yeah, I'm not buying the setup though. I mean, from the very beginning, if you have like a top-down perspective, which we're very fortunate that we do, and I don't see the operator lineup, I don't see the player positions, I don't see a clear way for them to win the round. It's an FPS game. You can always hit 5 headshots and that's it. Congrats, you won it. But like from a strategical perspective, Kinotrope have not yet shown us on defense what their game plan actually is. And on their attacks, they have such a clear game plan, and they're so good at changing it around, adapting the play, finding the counters, finding the gaps. On their defenses on both border and bank, it seemed a bit almost like solo QE, where they kind of just do their own thing with 5 individuals, and maybe they win a gunfight, maybe they don't. Maybe Dplus walk into a Captain Trap, maybe they don't. I need to see a bit more foundation being laid out here from Kinotrope, saying, okay, that's how they want to play. You know, start top floor,
you look at Dplus,
C4 downstairs, fall back.
In the first half, and while they, in the first couple of rounds, it wasn't working, you could see the identity. So sometimes you can have the identity and it doesn't work, and sometimes you can not have the identity and it works. It's not as if there's a correlation between the success, but it's like, as you're kind of pointing out, you do at least want to be able to see some kind of game plan that is what we usually will see in the conventional sense. Now, from what we're gathering in this round 9 for Kinotrope, even this kind of lineup to me would suggest you bring in the mirror, you can hold janitor stock, try and hold that second floor staff open area. Based on the positioning though, I'm not feeling that.
I'm with you.
So it's the second mirror is going to go into staff. This is like, they're not going to do it. They're just going to play first floor and they're going to see 4 max.
I like that.
I love that from Mint.
There is a strat here that Feral Jackal back in the IDK days, in early European League days, they would reinforce all the janitor walls right here, play a mute, put down a bunch of jammers. You cannot bait them in with the Maverick back then. Those are the Maverick meta many years ago. And then you C4 max downstairs. The thing is, right now Kinotrope is C4 maxing without having anyone luring them in, making them stand still, making them problem solve. They're gonna run around, do the vert. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're not having a clear way of this is how they're intending to get the kill. They're relying on Dplus to make a mistake somewhere, or Kinotrope to get that timing. And that's not reliable enough to do against such a good opponent as in Dplus.
They don't even have a Pulse. They don't even have a Valkyrie. Like, if you had have added those in, you can actually get a little bit more information to play off with those Nitro Cells, and then that allows the Solid Snake to just push in, because Kinotrope's mindset is like, can we get lucky and try and deal with these who are on the second floor with these Nitro Cells? We're not looking sideways. We're looking kind of up. Our mind is elsewhere. Well, the Solid Snake doesn't care what you're thinking. He's just going to push in. You're on the radar. There goes the cap can.
And with that, they lose the middle of the building. That gives them a long, nice line of sight into the entirety of the bomb site. They got the opposite of verticality. They can pop the hatches, the Hibana. Like, Dplus, they have every single area of map control they could ever desire. And now it comes down for Kinotrope to be stalking a couple of different corners by the side, taking unfavorable gunfights with worse weapons and no zoom scopes, and hoping for the best once again. At least they have 2 ACOGs and Eclair and Kawa. But that just means that those TCHTs, they're going to have to hit their shots.
This is an awful feeling sight to be stuck in a corner when there's so many different ways in. They're just all sitting in corners. All those Nitro Cells as well, Nick, they're pretty much unusable now as well, because really for Dplus, they're playing long angle fights. Gator gets 1, but it's irrelevant. It's nothing. It's now 6-3. It's 3 match series points for Dplus Kia.
Yeah.
But this feels harsh. But Kinotrope have just fumbled the bag here on Bank. They look lost.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. It's you have 3 C4s and no way to utilize them. Only 1 even gets thrown out of pocket before the round is over. So they do find 2 kills in the round, 1 of them to a C4 in a 1v4 position. Like, again, there's no way for them to get back into that round the moment it goes wrong. Had Solid Snake walked in and then died to the Capcan, we're talking about timing, individual gunfighting, that's fine. But strategically, we gotta see Kinotrope now on this upcoming round show us a bit more sign of life and a bit more brain play, if you will. Kinotrope called a tactical timeout. Surely with the support here of Okamesh, this can turn around. Guys, let's go for this strat, number 24 ABC in the document. Let's try and think about how they're taking the map space vertically. We gotta see a plan.
Well, this is actually a really good example, Nick, of like when it comes to coaching, you've got many different ways in which you can have a coach be more strategic based, or sometimes it can be more about, you know, the vibes and the energy, and some of them are just there to basically book scrims and the players don't care what they have to say. I would say at this level that's not obviously going to be the case, but I think with this kind of timeout, Okamesh cannot just use this as a, hey guys, you're playing bad, play better. That's just not going to work. This is a lower final, you're 3 rounds down, you need to lay out the plan of, we're not doing this right, this is what we need to do, this is what I'd like to see you guys do. Let's go to these sides, play these operators, play this way. And like you said, these guys have the documents, they have the ability to go and create these lines where they've got preset plays. They need to go into that. Lock a CCTV, you look at this lineup, but immediately there's far more of a plan in play. Nick, we finally see the Maestro. We were talking about it back on Border. This is a good sight for Maestro. Add that in with the Mirror and the Smoke, the Wamai with the Nitro Cell now plus Catch. This is the best looking lineup they've brought in this entire second half, and it's no surprise it's after a tactical timeout.
I mean, if I'm gonna try and keep it like big brain, maybe Kinotrope were hiding the Maestro, waiting for that third operator ban, didn't bring it out into action. But do you really want to do that when you're down a map in the BO3 series and struggling on the second map as well? Probably not. But now we're here. It's happening. Curious to see if there's gonna be a Brava, any sort of direct counter. Dplus did not care too much about the Maestro and Border until they started clutching a couple of rounds with it. Then they simply banned it as the third operator ban. Of course, as I said, no longer possible. If the Maestro becomes a problem, you gotta start playing the counter ops. But they do have a fair bit of self-destruction. They got the Demos on the board. They can get Twitch drones, which can technically destroy the Evil Eye if they can make them open up their little eye. And then Sibbity Sabbity.
Sibbity Zabbity.
Sibbity Sabbity.
This is going to be the waiting game, though, for Kinotrope. This is the way they need to play it. It needs to be slow. They need to just 5-stack sight. They need to play into the lineup that they've clearly brought. Triple Nitro, Mirror Windows, you've got the Evil Eyes, you've got the Catch available, plus the Gas Babes. But I like this from Muzi to go garage side. Play the longer position angle, force someone to swing out and keep their eye on this. Love this drone as well, by the way, to get this yellow ping. He would have also seen the double push out. Kawhi's got to be careful. He needs to stay alive, Nick. He is the one that send him back, put him tucked into a position so he can still zippity zap.
He can just about zippity zap. He's got a spare Evil Eye in pocket still, I believe. That's a bit of a shame, bit of a bummer. Maybe in case of a Brava, who knows, but either way, now Muzi gets full garage control, which kind of cuts the bomb side in half. You can't see the red hallway, thankfully, because they've reinforced the wall leading from garage in towards the bomb side, but you can see through the B bomb side door and just kind of watch from garage, later on backstep and safely use his Tristan as well from that position. So there's a Dplus. While we saw Muzi take garage control, they take an open area. They've cleared the entirety of the map except for server, where we do have AEG at play, has spent one Toxic Babe, now falling back towards the bomb site, saying, okay, 1 minute 20 seconds, 5v5. We feel like this is playable. But look, there's almost no playable area here on the side itself. You're once again stuck in some very tight corners. As a defender of Kinotrope, you need to ensure that you know who's watching what exact angle, who's watching the hatches, and who's in charge of playing denial. Are you going to smoke it? Are you going to see forward? Are you going to Evil Eye it? That's up to you guys to communicate ahead of time.
They've double stacked red because they reinforced off the garage wall. You can see there from Muzi's position. So Muzi can't actually get that angle just yet. But and with that double stack red, that's also 2 Nitro Cells, Nick, that are at range of being able to deny. So that's going to be the game point here for Kinotrope. 40 seconds left. Throw these Gas Babes out, then look to deny with the Nitro Cells. Aegator does get the kill onto Muzi. He pushed up garage because of that reinforced wall. He needed to push through the doorway to create an angle where he could actually get involved for the attack at Dplus here. 30 seconds, it doesn't leave a lot of time. They still have 2 more Nitro Cells available, plus a Gas Babe. Dplus are going to have to push forward, try and get a little bit deeper in towards the site. They are doing just that now. Levy at the doorway in towards site. Straight through CCTV. They lose falls. Aegate has been so impactful. 2 go down, and Gatorada and Declare 2 up for both teams now. Heading into red time. Still controlling the doorway is Levy out of Candelas. By the way, on cam this whole time in CCTV, courtesy of the Maestro, as Kinotrope will win the round in the 10th and stay alive here in the lower final.
constant red ping information, the pre-fires come out, and they actually charged the mirror window on the bomb site leading into the red hallway, which meant there was no playable spot for the attackers to plant in. You cannot plant chassis, you cannot plant default because there's no good spots. You're getting red pinged the entire time, so you're in a kill box effectively. And Musi also wasn't successful in the garage flank. He might have gotten a kill, I'm not entirely certain, but he died, and that meant that there was more space now for Kinotrope to utilize on their side of things. And thankfully, the Maestro stayed alive for the entirety of that, didn't die early on in garage. So Kinotrope fight for one more round. Now they're sadly off the Maestro. They got the Castle, the Bandit, the Two-Brow, which again screams like time denial, play down the clock. But then they have Sentry, and they have Asami. It's not that they're doubling down with like a Goyu or Tashanka or a Smoke where they have more tools at doing the same kind of job. It feels a bit like Kinotrope trying to do everything. They are once again C4 maxing. Maybe this time they will have a bit more presence upstairs to enable that C4 from beneath.
But if they don't have the presence upstairs, Nick, isn't it just basically the same thing that we saw before, and they haven't really learned from what caused them an issue last time?
That's why they gotta have a presence.
Yeah,
they gotta have a presence, but how they're gonna do it, that's what I'm not sure about.
Barricade off some windows, but his archives at the moment still has 2 in pocket.
Yeah.
The early positioning is like kind of around main stairs. It doesn't look like they're wanting to play upstairs. They don't really have a lineup, to be honest, that like really contends with top 4 anyway. I feel like this is just a double down from Kinotrope. I think that, you know what they're going to do differently this time? They're going to throw the Nitro Cells early. Because remember last time, they didn't really throw them at all. Remember that push into site? They all tucked into the corners and they didn't use them. I feel like they'll just try and get a little bit more aggressive in this round. Throw them out earlier once stock control and long desk and Janet is taken. And try and get a bit fortunate. But the problem is, again, you're relying on a bit of luck.
Does feel that way once again. I was gonna say, I love the idea of a clash. You can just walk around with a shield, you know, in front of your face, bait the C4s, be like, hey, look at me, I'm a free kill. Not to be. Again, Kinotrope, not really a shield team on the attacks or the defense necessarily. Boogie drones are going out, getting that bit of verticality. They got the floors in the mix for a bit of soft destruction. They got a DMR of Living Lobby cutting off the main elevator hallway. They are again boxing Kinotrope in step by step.
They just start
the one upside to this bomb site is at least.
Like, this is the point.
I mean, you can also utilize the basement staircases. Yeah.
Yeah. Information on the radar for Midi. It's the best time to catch the team on this second floor. It's like when these boogie auto breaches are going out and they, you know, there's a lot of noise and you're not quite fully set and holding an angle. Try and disrupt. They're not disrupting again. They're just sitting back, plain sight, all inside a Starfoot open. Gatorada actually almost losing his life in archives because, again, the floorboards are being completely ripped up. So much information into archives. Nears then gets rid of Ayukata. That's one of the Nitro Cells. Never even had to be played. I feel like this is deja vu. We've already played this round. It happened back in the 9th round, and we already saw the end result. They still haven't used these Nitros. They're sitting in corners. They're stuck in sight on an open site, hence its name. With 60 seconds left, 5v3, this could be the moment for Dplus to book their place in the grand final.
Wow. Just gotta hold on. Don't rush it, boys. You got so much time to work with. They'll peek you right there. News gets a freebie again in a 5v2 rather.
Well, you're watching this right now, Nick, and wondering how Kinotrope are probably even in this position of a lower final, because Flawless, they absolutely gave it to Dplus Kia on a silver platter. And on that platter is a grand final ticket to take on CAG for an all-time showdown between these two in the APAC North region. They've been the best 2 all stage long. It's time to see which is the best and who will be going to the Esports World Cup. We bid farewell to Kinotrope, 2-0 to Dplus Kia.
That's the performance that we need from Dplus if they are to go on and win EWC slot. That's the big talking point here, is that's the kind of performance that will propel you into a grand final against the what we're still considering them the best team in APAC North, being CAG, but still it does feel like there was so much missing for Kinotrope there. We wanted so badly to see them push this.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jake on the pre-show talked so much about what Dplus are capable of at their best. Well, how about Kinotrope at their best? We didn't see that today at all. We saw a few moments on border, of that Maestro play. We saw one round of Maestro here. Not that it was incredible, let's be real. It was this basement defense that Kinotrope eventually managed to win, the only defense round that they did win. But they were straight up outclassed by Dplus today, closing it with a flawless round. The first and only 2-0 thus far in the APAC North Stage Finals bracket. That speaks volumes to how much Dplus really showed up today, and sadly how much Kinotrope didn't. And I don't want to make this all about, you know, Dplus only won because Kinotrope played not to their regular level, but I think that is part of this conversation. Kinotrope, we expected greater things than what we saw from them in these last two maps, and Dplus, look, they hit their stride, and they needed that because they're gonna need to go even more on the next series, which is going to be our grand final and the EWC slot. Well,
that's just it. If you were to have two teams that could potentially go on to verse CAG right now, if you had Kinotrope kind of limping through, that just wasn't convincing enough for me, for them. Like, we always see Kinotrope, they're always on the front foot, they're always aggressive, and they're always putting themselves into positions where they could potentially win, but sometimes based on individual performances. You know, you look to your Carwows and the Aya Gators for those kind of moments, you know, 2-3Ks in the round. Unfortunately, they could not find themselves in positions where they had the advantage, and I think one of the most damning stats about what we're looking at there is just the cost. Kinotrope struggled to get an impact in even 50% of the rounds, Dev.
Yeah, for sure. It was, from the get-go, a Dplus looking map.
It was.
Dplus picked border. Kinotrope are the ones that wanted to take us to bank. Coming into today, we knew the numbers didn't look good for Kino. I mean, they beat Double RX, which is a bottom-level team in this league, and they lost to Fear X, who didn't even make it to the top 4 in the end, missing out on that spot to Scars. Why did Kinotrope pick bank? That's what I want to know. You didn't have much info to go up against Dplus for it. I'm not sure. But regardless, look, Dplus, they're going to be really happy with themselves right now.
For sure.
Not just for taking a win, but for taking the win in 2 maps. Now they've beaten in BO3's Kinotrope twice throughout this bracket.
Crazy.
After losing to them in the group stage. And yeah, while we did see Dplus lose to CAG earlier, they now have a shot at revenge, and I think in potentially the best form that we've seen from them in quite some time.
I would totally agree. Like you were saying, you don't want to give credit to a team that's not really performing to their mark. With Kinotrope, you don't want to try to make it about them, because what we saw from Dplus there, and I meant what I said on Border, especially in that second half, they looked really strong. They looked really good, and I think that ultimately this is the team that needs to go up against CAG. You cannot go into that game against CAG somewhat performing well in some rounds, not in others. You have to be on your best on the day. Speaking of the day, let's go ahead and have a look at this next matchup, because for me, I mean, with a 2-0 performance from Dplus, this now changes the script a little for me, Dev. I think that if that had been a close match, if those two teams had pushed it to 3 and it was a barn burner, as we love to say here on the APL, I think maybe it might have detracted from a grand final, at least the conversation. But this now, we go, what do we expect now?
I mean, it's a perfect amount of warm-up, I would say, for Dplus. You get a 2-0 over Kinotrope. You practice not only the aim, the communication, a little bit of your problem-solving skills. You get a little bit of confidence because your prep worked out. You know, those attacking bans were pretty well consistent as well. Grim and Ying consistently against Kinotrope. And now going up against CAG, you're going to be facing a team which has got more confidence in gunfights, plays a more aggressive type of siege than Kinotrope, and is a lot more just regimented and regulated. Like these guys, CAG right now, you know, they're approaching some of their peak form. They looked really good in the BO1s. BO3s, they also had a little bit of strife, but of course Dplus still fell to them in that upper bracket. Dplus might have got one map. It was in overtime. Then they got 7-0'd on the second map when CAG and Dplus met last time around. I think CAG, regardless, are going to be the favorites going into this, but not by a lot.
No,
there's very much
margin.
a world where Dplus could steal the spot away from CAG.
Yeah, the margin has definitely shrunk, and due to sometimes the overall team, but sometimes individual players step up, and right now Falls is going mental. Let's welcome him in for the interview. And I think, Falls, we always love talking to you. You give us a lot, and I love you for it. You're going to be feeling hot off the back of that series. You were going off.
Yo, hello guys. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy game. Like, Kinotrope is like have like a really aggressive play style, like just running around. It's kind of hard to understand, like strategically speaking, what they're doing in the map. So it makes kind of tough, you know, to counter because like we are planning ourselves. Let's do this, and just like there's someone might running around the map and get the kill and already gets the plan already. But yeah, always good to look to play against these guys. And now Siege.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you say that they're aggressive, but every now and then we see them do something very passive with the Maestro. One of the few teams in the world that we see want to run that Maestro, and Akai seems to do it all the time. He did it just the one round on Bank, but he did a lot on Border. What kind of prep goes into playing against Kinotrope specifically once you read their playstyle, once you see what kind of operators that they decide to pick and play a lot of? Does it come through in the bans? You know, I noticed that you banned Grim and Ying a lot today for the attacking halves, and then you did ban Maestro as your third ban on Border. Talk me through a bit about like what the prep was like coming into that match today.
Yeah, Maestro is kind of really different operator. I don't think I can say it's like meta, you know. If it was really good, a lot of teams would play it. But it's also kind of the way he plays is kind of really boring because he uses actually Intel, and it's an Intel that can shoot. So actually we need to step things up. Like basically we just said we're not gonna bring some Brava or anything to destroy. We're just gonna like try maybe to like how's the word in English? I forgot the word in English, but like surround them, you know, like get them surrounded. So the guy cannot be on camps. So he needs to actually shoot because if he doesn't, he's not gonna be able to play. So yeah, basically that's the idea.
Now, obviously, Falls, you have a pretty big game coming up next, and I don't want to hold you for too long, but I just want to know what your feelings are going into this one against CAG. Obviously, you two teams are, I mean, you're the best that the region has to offer right now. We know APAC North is close. We know this game's going to be close. What are your thoughts going into that one?
Yeah, like for me, individually, I think it is the moment we need to step up, you know, we need to prove themselves. Basically, we are struggling still a little bit in some points, some details. We definitely know we can beat CAG, so that's not the point. But basically, if we want the EWC spot, we need to beat them, and now is the moment. So yeah, pretty confident, man. To be honest, also like previous experience, also really hyped because it's good to have these competitors, you know, like some hard task. Because if it is easy, it's like kind of doesn't have like emotion. No, it needs to be hard, so we can say that we actually earned the spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Earning a spot right now is pretty big. Obviously, we'll give you the final words here before we let you go, Falls. Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, just like say thank you for fans and friends, especially a family also. And yeah, now prepare for a CG game.
Oh, believe me, we're going to do the exact same. Falls, best of luck, mate, and hope to see you on the other side. Perfect. Another great game from Falls, all things considered.
Top fragging. I was a little bit worried there in that one round. I noticed he was top fragging and he had the diffuser and he was attacking the basement and he drops down the hatch right after they'd breached open the only wall that he could have planted and hidden behind. But it's just moments like that where you're like, look, I'm back in Force to do anything. Like, even if he ends up in a bit of an awkward spot and he has a prone on the ground and hope that he doesn't get exposed, he's still going to go crazy. It's great to see even the supportive players on the team fragging out like crazy. It's just, you know, Falls is a hard player not to fall in love with when you hear him talk like that and you see him play the way he does.
And especially when he shit on Jake. The most important thing. We do have a grand final coming up, but before that, this one right here.
It's the real grand final.
That is the grand final we're after. It is the conclusion of Xenox Goes Pro. Will he beat Pengu? That is the big question. There's no chance. I mean, you know what? There's some allegations being thrown around right now. Obviously, yeah, he cheated, but the allegation I want to look into. Are we playing on OS servers or are we playing on fair servers here?
I hope that we're playing somewhere in the middle. Of course, it wouldn't be fair to play on OS servers. Also wouldn't be fair to play on European servers.
Yeah.
You know, Pengu's all the way over in Denmark. I don't know what is halfway between. I know that last time I played on Southeast Asia servers, I got maybe like 80 to 120 ping, depending on the routing on the day. I think maybe Pengu would get like 200 to those.
180, 200, I think.
Maybe that's a little bit fairer. I mean, it's fine if Jake has a little bit of a ping advantage.
No, not fine. He has to have
I think he needs to. Look, honestly, he could have 9 ping. He could be inside the server in Australia. He's still losing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, that's one you can't afford to miss. Obviously, CAG, yeah, it's a pretty important matchup against Dplus. But this one,
I want
this
to know
is
who
the
the
one.
teammates are, though. Like,
well, that's the best part, Dev. Do you know when we find out?
when?
Right after this break.
You.